I'm leveling up my stats on a deserted island. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. I am trapped in the mysterious zone. Hula, hula, cirrus clouds blocked the hot sun, bringing a moment of shade. Waves beat against the rocks on the shore, and the waves splashed, never ending. Zhang Ming opened his eyes and found himself lying on the soft beach. Who am I? Where am I? What should I do? A severe dizziness arose in his mind, making him involuntarily transform into a philosopher and ask the three ultimate questions of life. Not far away was a broken plane, the nose, fuselage and tail separated, broken into three parts, and the metal scratches left on the beach told of the disaster that had happened. Plane. Zhang Ming, who was unconscious, rubbed his temples with both hands. The dizziness gradually disappeared, and a lot of memories came to his mind. As a programmer, he worked in a company with good welfare benefits. At the annual meeting, he magically won the first prize of 10-day tour to Hawaii. Then the joy turned to sorrow. During the trip, the plane crashed. The cause of the plane crash was also very strange. According to the captain's explanation on the radio, "Dear passengers, during the voyage, the satellite signal was suddenly interrupted and the route deviated. We spent a long time but still couldn't find the correct route. The fuel is running out. We found an island and must make an emergency landing. The chances of landing on the beach are not high. May God bless us." As for the final result, it is what it looks like now. The plane is destroyed and everyone is dead. How could this happen? Thinking back to this, Zhang Ming almost collapsed. He felt that all the cells in his body stopped working, the heart stopped beating, the blood stopped flowing, the brain was blank, and even the spermatogonia with unlimited division ability stopped dividing. The legendary trip to Hawaii, the dream place full of big bears, big white legs, bikinis, essential oils, and sunscreen, suddenly turned into an air crash. What should I do with the tour group that the company booked for me? Can I get a refund? Is the captain a jerk? He has to make an emergency landing on the beach? If the GPS doesn't work, won't it switch to Beidou? Wait, did the insurance company compensate? 1 million or 10 million? The down payment for a house? I miraculously survived the disaster. Will it be recorded in the Guinness Book of Records? Will I be able to become an internet celebrity in the future? I am a miracle survivor. You, donate money. Thinking of this, Zhang Ming woke up from his revolving lantern and gradually came to his senses. The 7 or 8-digit insurance compensation and the future internet celebrity career gave him a miraculous bit of strength. He climbed up from the beach and limped towards the pile of plane wreckage. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "Is there anyone? Is there anyone alive? Is there anyone alive? Is there anyone?" The pungent smell of blood hid him, and the scene in the cabin was like hell on earth. Various mysterious liquids like sauces made people's stomachs turn upside down and their blood boiled. Zhang Ming's expression was extremely ugly. The cold breath stimulated every nerve in his body, not only the brain nerves, but also the gastrointestinal nerves. The moment before, they were still alive, praying, shivering in their seats, crying softly, and writing suicide notes. The next moment, they were dead, turning into pure flesh, hair and bright red blood. Zhang Ming tried to calm himself down. But he felt his heartbeat getting faster and faster, and the world was spinning, as if the weight of the whole world was pressing down on him. He was too lazy to think about insurance, internet celebrities, and so on. I can't be the only one alive in this scene, right? Suddenly, a sizzling sound of the microphone woke him up from his panic. Noise, Da Air Ds 898, this is Eastern Airport. Please reply. Please reply. Zhang Ming suddenly came to his senses and shouted to the direction of the radio station, "I got it. My name is Zhang Ming, ID number I am a passenger on the plane, and the plane crashed. I am on a small island now. I am a survivor. I am still alive. Save me." The person on the other side of the radio was stunned for a moment, as if he did not expect that his call would actually be replied. After all, it has been more than 10 hours since the plane lost contact. What's the status of the plane? How many survivors are there? How big is the island? Are there any human facilities around? Zhang Ming looked around with a pale face and swallowed his saliva. We flew in the Pacific for a long time, the GPS signal disappeared, and we found this island. In the end, we ran out of fuel and had to make an emergency landing. The plane finally broke into 3 pieces. It seems that I am the only survivor. I will look for anyone else alive. The radio asked again, where's the captain? Is he still alive? Zhang Ming gritted his teeth and looked at the colorful scene in the captain's room. He turned over a metal plate with his hands with sweat on his forehead. A foot fell in front of him. The leather shoes fell off, revealing black socks stained with blood. Judging from the style of the uniform, it should be a crew member of the crew. The captain died. I don't know how he survived such a serious disaster. Anyway, he is still alive. He turned his head and looked into the distance. A golden sun was suspended in the blue sky, and the sunlight like ripples sprinkled on the sea, creating bursts of golden light. Rows of huge waves continued to surge towards the shore. There are many palm trees and sparse shrubs growing near the beach. Zhang Ming was stunned for a few seconds, his mouth dry. The captain is dead and his blood has dried up. I didn't find any human settlements. I saw some tall coconut trees growing on the island, maybe 100 or 200 meters high. The trees are ridiculously big. Wait, what is that? A round green object fell from the tree with a thump and rolled towards the direction of the plane. I couldn't help but stiffen my body and hold my breath. Looking closely, it turned out to be a coconut. But this green coconut is as big as a water tank and may weigh 300 kilograms. What the hell is this? Zhang Ming was completely at a loss. Did I travel through time? Came to the land of giants? Or did my body shrink? The person on the other side of the radio was also a little confused. Sir, calm down first, take a deep breath, and concentrate. Zhang Ming touched the coconut with tears in his eyes. It was a real 300 kilograms. I also hope it's an illusion. It's better to be a dream. He punched it twice with his fist, and it was hard. The voice on the radio became serious, and said in a very formal tone, Mr. Zhang, according to the satellite signal we received, your current location is 10.33 degrees south latitude and 140.45 degrees west longitude. Theoretically, it is an ocean, and there are no large islands. Now I must tell you one thing. Just today, thousands of earthquakes of various sizes occurred around the world, including 52 earthquakes above magnitude 7, 6 earthquakes above magnitude 8, and 1 earthquake of magnitude 9. Our country has also been hit by some small and medium-sized earthquakes. Because of the frequent tsunamis, flights and ships have been completely stopped. Zhang Ming swallowed his saliva, and his heart clicked, and he felt something was wrong. Radio, I hope you can go to higher ground as soon as possible to avoid the possible tsunami. Before the disaster stops, it will be difficult for us to send enough people to rescue you, so you may have to live on this island for a while. The checked baggage of the plane is in the lower cargo hold. There may be some supplies there. You need to collect survival resources as soon as possible. Don't do this. The other party means, do you want to be a Bear Grylls who actively survives, eats a worm and can jump around for 3 days, looking for human gatherings, or do you want to be a Democrat who survives hard and starves for 9 meals in 3 days? Anyway, choose one of the two. You have to survive on the deserted island for a while. Zhang Ming was silent for a few minutes. He really wanted to shout, please save me and take me home. But the other party kept saying I'm sorry, and this kind of thing is not something that an operator can decide. A large number of planes and ships in the world have lost contact, and you are the only one we have contacted. If we can send rescue, we will do it as soon as possible, but obviously, you mean my luck is good? Okay, Zhang Ming was a little angry and helpless. There is no point in venting emotions, it will only affect the speed of drawing the sword. He was silent, twisting and turning towards the direction of the cabin. If I come back alive, how much money can the insurance company compensate me? The other party was stunned for a moment and explained, at present, the insurance company can pay a maximum of 3 million yuan for domestic aviation accident insurance, and the maximum compensation amount for airlines to victims of plane crashes is 400,000 yuan. For people like you who are still alive, it is no problem to pay 1 or 2 million. We will compensate your relatives as soon as possible, so the compensation for the living is less than that for the dead. Zhang Ming bit the bullet and got into the cabin, looking for survivors in the unsightly environment. It is always good to have more people alive. But no living people were found, only a box of unsold Evian mineral water and a few bottles of drinks covered with red liquid on the dining car. Zhang Ming looked desperate and wanted to cry but had no tears. A box of mineral water from hell, 5 bottles of Coca-Cola, Sprite, and orange juice from the underworld, as well as bread, biscuits and other snacks. There was not much food because the passengers had already eaten. The damn airline company cannot carry too much food to save transportation costs. Then he went to the cargo hold of the plane. There was a huge hole here, and the checked packages of all sizes were scattered on the ground. Zhang Ming pulled out a few suitcases, and ran towards the high ground without caring what was in them. He recalled various documentaries about wilderness survival in his mind, such as the starving German who survived on a desert island for 60 days. But he could not remember the specific details. He only remembered that this guy finally ate a fat roasted lamb. God knows if it was a prop lamb. As for Bear Grylls, he might choose to cross the ocean in his body. After running back and forth for dozens of times and spending more than 6 hours, he finally moved most of the goods in the cargo hold. Zhang Ming returned to the radio station exhausted. He felt his hands and feet were numb, and his clothes were soaked with sweat. Only then did he realize that his thighs and coccyx were abnormally painful. Maybe because of the great overdraft of physical strength, the whole person's mental state was not good at once, and every muscle in his buttocks, thighs, calves, and chest was aching. As the sun sets, the waves are rising one after another, and the last few metal plates that fell have been swallowed up by the tide. Zhang Ming swallowed his saliva. Can I dismantle this radio? If this goes on, this place will be submerged by the tide, the communication station will be damaged if it gets wet, and then we won't be able to contact you, the staff on the other side of the radio side. It will be difficult to dismantle this radio without enough tools. Besides, the radio needs electricity to work, and the current batteries won't last long. Mr. Zhang Ming, our planet is undergoing drastic changes. The whole world is in chaos now, and many people have died. I just got the news that Hawaii was hit by a tsunami. Turn up the volume to maximum and go ashore first. The tsunami may come at any time. By the way, if you have a radio, you can try to listen to satellite broadcasts. Look in the suitcases of those passengers to see if there is a radio. Zhang Ming was like a deflated balloon, and he made his last voice. Tell my parents, tell them that I am still alive. My parents' phone number is, and you will definitely be able to find the home address. No problem, the aviation insurance will definitely compensate your parents. After getting the other party's promise, Zhang Ming walked back to the shore with a dazed look on his face. The sun was about to set, and a blazing fireball hung on the horizon, dyeing the surrounding clouds crimson. Even the seawater in the distance was red, like a pool of blood. This was an open high slope, with tall coconut trees covering the sky. Several coconuts that fell to the ground, as huge as water tanks, made people feel stressed. Tension and uneasiness surged in my heart. My stomach was rumbling with hunger. But the food on hand was scarce, and I couldn't bear to eat a bite. As for whether there was food in those unopened suitcases, it was not known yet, and I guess there wouldn't be much even if there was. Zhang Ming felt that he was too difficult, and he started to survive in the wilderness without any warning. The whole earth began to erupt in disasters. Yesterday, I was still dreaming of going to Hawaii to see the little sister. Today, all the little sisters were drowned by the tsunami, and even I fell into an unknown mysterious world. Everything gave him a sense of unreality. Suddenly, Zhang Ming felt a flash of light in his mind. A strange panel appeared in his mind. Physique. 15/21, you are hungry and tired, but you can still jump. Perception. 19/20, your perception is normal. Spirit. 9/20, you are about to have a mental breakdown. Lifespan. 24/88, it's great to be young. Total attributes. 149, you can't be any worse, huh? Zhang Ming blinked his eyes to make sure he was not mistaken. He was familiar with online novels, and his heart was throbbing. Could this be my golden finger? I think I can survive. Chapter 2 Mirage. Earth. Terrible earthquakes and tsunamis are erupting all over the world, and a lot of rescue work is overwhelming. 6 hours after the disaster, the government set up a special disaster handling department. In a large room with about 50 people, people were concentrating on reading materials, and a lot of information was summarized on the central screen. We are still okay here, but we cannot rule out the possibility that the disaster will further expand and affect more areas. What caused the earthquake? Maybe it's plate movement, or maybe there's some kind of change in the deep core of the earth. The saying if the earth farts, humans will die is not a lie. Looking at the information at hand, everyone in the room frowned and looked sad. The director of the special department was named Li Xianfeng. After answering a call, he coughed lightly. Everyone, please be quiet, let's not talk about other things for now. Our main task at present is to rescue citizens trapped in the mysterious area. I just received a call. At least one of our citizens was trapped on a deserted island in the mysterious area of the Pacific Ocean and was briefly contacted by a satellite phone. The mysterious area of the Pacific Ocean, a 30-year-old man wearing glasses nearby said, "It's not easy to rescue. The tsunami in the Pacific Ocean is so huge that even aircraft carriers can't pass through. How to rescue? How long can he survive alone?" He is not an expert in wilderness survival, Li Xianfeng sighed. "You are right. No matter from which angle, our rescue operation is very difficult, but we have to do something, even if it's using satellites in the sky to send some broadcasts." The mysterious area is a new geographical concept. Since the moment the earthquake occurred, artificial satellites in the universe have photographed large and small fogs appearing in the four oceans of the Pacific Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and the Atlantic Ocean. Quite a number of planes and ships were trapped in the fog and lost contact. Only a few survivors in the marginal areas escaped. Satellite radio waves can hardly penetrate these fogs, resulting in people knowing very little about the mysterious area. What's even more strange is that according to the few words revealed by a few survivors, it was actually sunny inside, completely different from the so-called satellite fog. It seemed like two different worlds. At this moment, the ding-ling-ling phone sounded again. Li Xianfeng answered the phone halfway and his pupils dilated slightly. "Something big has happened. Come out with me." A group of people hurriedly ran out of the room, staring at the western sky in amazement. It was dusk at this moment, the setting sun was slanting, the leaves were falling under the sycamore tree, the light and shadow were mottled, and the feeling of the passing of time was intertwined. But at this moment, no one appreciated the scenery, but stared at the sky. The clouds above the sky actually outlined a vague scene. Under the breeze and mist, it seemed that there were people and ships passing through the clouds. Mirage, it is indeed a mirage. The dark red sky was like a projection screen divided into multiple pieces, and many strange scenes appeared at the same time: an Arctic iceberg expedition, an Atlantic Ocean tanker, a Pacific desert island survivor, a luxury cruise group, and a trapped fishing boat. Scattered together, there were a total of 16 scenes of varying sizes. From one of the pictures, Li Xianfeng found the wreckage of the plane broken into several pieces, and a bewildered trapped person. That is, his mind buzzed, and thoughts came to mind one after another. The trapped person in the mysterious area of the mirage. Why did a mirage appear in the sky? No, it's not just Zhang Ming. The rest of the survivors also appeared in the mirage. The streets were blocked by cars, and the ground was faintly shaking. Although the earthquake in Yunhai City was not large, it still made people panic. God knows whether the shoddy construction will suddenly collapse. A series of great escapes are taking place in this megacity. Beep, beep, beep. Which idiot is playing with his phone while driving? He crashed the car in front and ended up blocking the road. A fat driver rolled down the window, lit a cigarette, and honked the horn angrily. Because there were so many cars, the traffic was moving slower than anyone could move. His wife sat in the back seat, playing with their 3-year-old daughter. "Don't swear in front of our daughter, Dad. Don't swear." Hey, Dad is criticizing them. "Don't play with your phone while driving." The fat driver Wang Fumin couldn't help but laugh and changed the subject. Earthquake disaster announcement. A 4.2 magnitude earthquake occurred in area, degrees north latitude, degrees east longitude, at 16:45 on December 28, with a focal depth of 35 kilometers. Emergency notice: please go to the nearest shelter for disaster-stricken people. Please do not drive on the elevated road to avoid the risk of landslides. The current congested roads are, there are traffic jams everywhere. When can we drive back to our hometown? Wang Fumin knocked on the steering wheel with a headache. Suddenly, his daughter shouted to the sky, "There's a movie in the sky, and a big plane has fallen. There are also big ships in the sky." Wang Fumin took a puff of cigarette and exhaled the mist without paying attention. He thought his daughter was watching cartoons. "Hey, boss, how much is a box of fried rice?" 70 yuan a box. Because the road was blocked, the line stretched for dozens of kilometers, and some vendors who are good at making money went back and forth to sell food. "It's better to rob this lucrative business," he complained in his heart, but his daughter and wife had to eat anyway, so he waved his hand and said, "2 servings of fried rice, with more rice." "Okay, Dad, someone in the sky is breathing fire," his daughter shouted excitedly. Mirage, that's a mirage. More and more people discovered the strange phenomenon in the sky, and the discussion became louder and louder. Even the lunch vendors were attracted. While selling lunch boxes, They took out their mobile phones to take pictures of the sky. Wang Fumin couldn't help but turn his head and look to the west. The mirages, like a movie, played out strange scenes. Someone is really breathing fire, someone's body is suspended. What's going on? Is he a superpower? Even though the world is being hit by earthquakes and natural and man-made disasters are constantly happening, the nature of the internet is to seek novelty. What is the internet without new topics? This mysterious phenomenon spread rapidly, growing at an exponential rate, attracting global attention. A large number of netizens excitedly cheered and discussed the reason. The spiritual energy has revived. Chapter 3: A New Era. Yes, one of the scenes in the mirage is very likely to be ours. The trapped person is Zhang Ming. The rest are hard to tell apart. They may be survivors from all over the world. There are people trapped in the mysterious zone in countries all over the world. Comrade Li Xianfeng from the Special Affairs Department, after receiving an important call, hurried to a special room to attend a video conference. A high-definition image of the mirage in the sky was played on the big screen. Every detail, every frame was recorded clearly. The 16 mirage scenes come from 4 mysterious areas, and there are about 4,365 humans trapped inside. The scene with the largest number of people is a large luxury cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean, with about 3,000 passengers. This luxury cruise ship has lost contact with a satellite signal. For some reason, it appeared in the mirage. The scene with the least number of people is a plane passenger trapped on a deserted island. Because there is only one survivor of the plane crash, the reflected picture is very bizarre. The coconut is as big as a water tank, and the trees are hundreds of meters high. Li Xianfeng reported the known situation in the video conference. This person should be the survivor Zhang Ming. We estimate that the scene in the mirage has some delays and is not played in real time. What happened in this world? Global earthquakes have made governments around the world anxious, and there are also mysterious areas, mirages and other unexplainable world wonders, which have raised countless doubts in people's hearts. The military is searching for information about aliens, but has been at a loss so far. As for whether it is the United States across the ocean that is causing trouble, it can only be said that the Americans do not have such technological strength. Unless the other party suddenly got the high technology of the Zenithians, they could not create a large-scale earthquake in mirage. And it is obvious that the other side of the Pacific Ocean was also hit by an earthquake. The Americans can't attack themselves so madly. As for the Jade Emperor, God and alike, is it really possible? Another expert stood up and explained, the scene in the sky is indeed a mirage. As long as the density and humidity of the air are changed, these scenes can be destroyed, but these mirages appear in many regions around the world at the same time. It doesn't make much sense to destroy only one region. There may be tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of people who saw this scene. There have been a lot of discussions on the internet, saying that some kind of spiritual energy has been revived. Li Xianfeng looked at the big screen. There are naturally some Daksha people trapped in the mysterious area. For example, on the cruise ship, there are dozens of Daksha tourists among the more than 3,000 passengers. And the desert island survivor he is mainly responsible for, Zhang Ming, is crying and laughing at the sky, and his face is ecstatic. Li Xianfeng's heart clicked and he had an idea. Is he crazy? What should I do if he is crazy? In the face of a great disaster, the probability of a direct mental breakdown is not small. Only one person died on the plane, and he faced a mysterious island. No matter how you look at it, you feel that the situation of this desert island survivor is too difficult. In other pictures, some people were breathing fire. And some people were suspended in the air. There were also people who suddenly became extremely powerful and jumped more than 10 meters high, far exceeding the scope of normal humans. Superpowers? Have these people developed superpowers? Li Xianfeng frowned and had this thought in his mind. Someone else asked, how should we solve the public opinion? If these pictures are real, what does it mean? An old man said slowly, since too many people know about it and cannot cover up the scene in the sky, public opinion should not be guided too much. Instead of doing thankless things, it is better to allocate enough manpower to rescue the victims in the earthquake zone and ensure the circulation of information and logistics, especially food. It must be fully guaranteed. Severely crack down on hoarding and other behaviors. He paused for a long while. Superpower? As for the mirage, if it really exists, it may mean that a new era is coming. As night fell, the mirage lasted for more than half an hour and finally disappeared. But for a planet, there is always dusk somewhere. So, these magical mirages reappeared in other places. The internet has long been in an uproar, and the self-media are spreading their own random speculations in order to prevent the world from being in chaos. Global earthquake. Hawaii Island was submerged by tsunami. Shocked. Mysterious mirages spread all over the world. It must be a conspiracy of the Americans. The Mayan prophecy believes that the end of the world has come, and today is the first day of the end of the world. Aliens use softens to destroy the Earth. The Earth has fallen from the three-dimensional world to the two-dimensional space. We are the world in the novel. Someone commented below, come on, it's the end of the world every year. But today's earthquake is really widespread. Even cities outside the earthquake zone can feel the tremor. Our whole family set up tents in the yard to sleep, for fear that the house would suddenly collapse. Earthquake-resistant reinforcement of houses. Preferential price is 1,000 yuan per square meter. Is your reinforcement guaranteed? I just want to ask a question. Do I still have to pay the mortgage if the building collapses? Just stay in the city shelter. So-called urban shelters are mostly public open-air places such as playgrounds, stadiums, and parks. The governments of various cities have built some simple iron houses, cabins, or even outdoor tents, and provided food on time so that the victims would not starve to death. About half an hour later, an important news investigation report on mirages and global earthquakes was published on major portals, and the appearance of earthquakes and mirages was all blamed on the so-called mysterious area. After all, the major impact of the earthquake should provide a reason for the people. As for whether the images in the mirage are true or false, what is going on? The report is vague and not too dead. The report finally called for focusing on the present. The stock market and the property market have already collapsed, the world economy is paralyzed, and the global pattern will be reshaped. People's subjective initiative must be brought into play in order to fight for the future in the great changes of 10,000 years. Of course, most people don't care much about things that are too far-sighted. There are many people willing to donate money, billionaires spend lavishly. Civilian heroes push tricycles and motorcycles to deliver supplies. Some people are just having fun. Seeing people trapped in the mysterious area is a carnival entertainment. What's more, the emergence of superpowers makes netizens ecstatic. 1 in 10. In the mysterious area, 1 in 10 people have superpowers. P.S. Starting tomorrow, updates will be made at 8 p.m. Chapter 4 Attribute Conversion. Zhang Ming naturally didn't know that a mirage was broadcasting his every move live. He was excitedly studying his golden finger. Physical 15/21, the number 15 in front should be the current amount. The number 21 at the back is the theoretical upper limit that can be reached when you have enough rest. As for the spirit, 9/20, it is easier to understand. His current mental state is indeed terrible. The pressure of the unfamiliar environment, the worries about the future, the hidden dangers in life, and all kinds of troubles almost overwhelmed his heart. But now the spirit value has become 10 points. The spirit value has become 11 points. This value has been rising, and it has not stopped rising until it reached 18 points. Spirit 18/20. You suddenly feel extremely happy and laugh like a fool. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He almost understood why the spirit value would rise sharply. It would be strange if there were no daily limit boards after suddenly getting the golden finger. But the damn god threw him into this hellhole and made him live a life of not having enough food. He has parents and a sister who is in high school. He is still a virgin and has not completed the human plan of reproducing offspring. This week's Crazy Thursday has not come yet. He has done well this year and his boss promised a raise. If only I hadn't come to Hawaii for a trip, I could have reached the pinnacle of my life with this golden finger. Zhang Ming had a sour face and felt that he had it too hard. Damn God, he played a joke on him that he couldn't laugh. Wait, the spirit value has dropped by 17 points. It has dropped to 16 points, spirit. 16/20, you are suddenly dissatisfied with your current life and feel a little depressed. Zhang Ming quickly stopped thinking about it and took a few deep breaths. Ponder for a moment. The purpose of the attribute panel is very simple. The first is to add points, and by adding points, you can become stronger. As for the source of attribute points, I just don't know, there is no explanation. Maybe if I do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers of running every day, I can get attribute points. The second function is attribute transfer. There are a total of 4 attributes on the panel: physique, perception, spirit, and lifespan, which can be redistributed at any time. This is a very powerful ability. Zhang Ming thought of a hero in Dota, Spirit, whose agility and strength attributes can be converted to each other. Now he has become a Spirit, and the 4 attributes can be switched. The only attribute that can be greatly reduced at present should be lifespan. The lifespan of up to 88 should only be theoretical. It doesn't matter if you crash in the next second or are taken away by a monster. Anyway, you can only live for 88 years at most, and then die due to various accidents. After pondering for a moment, he directly deducted 30 points of lifespan and transferred them to physique. A strong enough physique is the foundation of survival. Another 10 points of lifespan were transferred to spirit. It was difficult to survive in this uninhabited place. Even with a golden finger, Zhang Ming was worried that he would have a mental breakdown. Finally, 10 points of perception were allocated to improve hearing and vision. Now the lifespan has become 2438, and there are only 14 years left to live. So I dare not allocate it randomly. Although it can be squeezed to 24/25, under extreme conditions, if a serious illness occurs and some lifespan is lost, wouldn't it be an immediate death? After the allocation was completed, a faint heat flow burst out from the heart and penetrated every inch of his muscles. This feeling is very mysterious, as if there is magma crawling in the muscles and blood vessels. I estimated that it takes about 10 seconds to convert 1 attribute point, which is not an instantaneous conversion. 500 seconds later, physique. 4051, you changed your attributes, and you are a little more powerful. Perception. 29/30, it is still normal now. Spirit. 26/30, you are mixed, very surprised, and very hungry. Lifespan. 24/38, you have become a short-lived ghost. Total attributes. 149, you sacrificed your lifespan in some evil way, making yourself less weak. Zhang Ming clenched his fists, feeling his light body, and an unprecedented sense of power surged in his heart. He jumped lightly. If there was a basketball, this bounce height might be enough to dunk easily. Then, a strong hunger surged in his heart. He was so hungry, as if he had been hungry for 3 days and 3 nights. Zhang Ming felt dizzy and felt that he could eat a cow. He took out a bag of snacks he had just collected, thinking sadly, but the food I have is only at the snail level. In particular, he just drank a mouthful of coconut water that had finally drilled a hole, and immediately vomited it. A hot, spicy and numb feeling appeared in his mouth. It might be due to an allergic reaction, or the coconuts might be poisonous. He couldn't eat these coconuts, otherwise, he would die. Special Affairs Processing Department. Li Xianfeng sat in the office, studying the mysterious mirage that had just appeared. Even with only half an hour of footage, a lot of information could be analyzed. All mirages only broadcast the scenes of the survivors during the day, and there was no way to see the activities at night. I don't know if this young man can spend the first night safely. Li Xianfeng sighed softly. Ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. A voice came from the phone. Captain, Zhang Ming's parents have been found, and their emotions are relatively stable. The compensation for aviation insurance is being reported, and it is estimated that it will come down in the next few days. Li Xianfeng nodded. Since the disaster has already happened, no matter whether this person is dead or alive, it is always right to pay the money first. Well, let them keep it secret and don't publicize that their family members are trapped in the mysterious area. We also need to appeal to their emotions and reason, and let them know that it is difficult for us to carry out rescue work. If there is any possibility, we will send people to rescue them. His parents are quite reasonable, so there should be no problem. The voice on the phone said again. The Superior's application has come down, allowing us to use broadcast satellites to spread signals in various mysterious areas. We will be allocated about 1 to 2 hours a day. What kind of content do we need to broadcast in the satellite broadcast? Li Xianfeng was silent for a moment, and then discussed with his colleagues in the office for a while. In addition to the lonely desert island survivor Zhang Ming, there are some Chinese or Chinese Americans and other scenes, and they also need more information. What kind of content should be broadcast? Consolation from relatives and friends? Continuous encouragement? Of course not. These people must be made aware that they are facing a harsh environment and it is difficult for the outside world to rescue them. They must save themselves. They must find a way to survive longer. They must understand the common sense of survival in the wild and the changes in the world. Li Xianfeng said, ensuring that they have enough knowledge, A good attitude and a strong fighting spirit is the key to survival. I will be responsible for the broadcast content in this regard. Chapter 5: The Most Excellent Race. The assistant on the other end of the phone said again, "Minister, there is one more thing. For the appearance of the mirage, domestic public opinion is not bad. Everyone is generally focused on fighting earthquake disasters, and at most discusses it as a curiosity, but the public opinion outside the wall is very bad. It has mixed some religious doomsday and racial statements and has now become a carnival of racists." Li Xianfeng sighed slightly. "Do our own thing well. We can't control foreign public opinion. It has always been like that. It's not the first time. The world is made up of matter, and it won't hurt a piece of meat if you say a few words." With the continuous rise of Daksha, the attitude of the Western world has become worse. And the occurrence of this global earthquake has not only failed to alleviate the bad attitude, but has a tendency to intensify. The reason is very simple. With the emergence of several mysterious areas on the ocean and the frequent occurrence of various tsunamis, the risks of sea transportation are really exaggerated. Without the cheapest logistics method of ocean transportation, the end of the global industrial chain can be said to be a foregone conclusion. At this time, Daksha, which has the most complete industrial chain, naturally has a great advantage. On the other hand, with the increase of marine risks, land power will likely rise again and sea power will decline. Eurasia and Africa have the largest territorial area and population, while the remaining continents hanging overseas can only play isolationism behind closed doors. In this case, it would be strange if a superpower with more than 300 overseas bases did not get angry. In this world of comparison, as long as others are worse than oneself, then oneself is the best. As for the earthquakes that are expanding and causing disasters, as long as one day does not affect oneself, then what does one day have to do with me? From a certain perspective, human civilization can be said to be a true portrayal of the jungle Darwin society. Mysterious zone, a world that exists in supernatural phenomena. Although I don't know why there are mirages about a mysterious zone, I am sure that these scenes are real. Peter Greer, a professor of parapsychology at Harvard University, posted a message on Bluebird and intercepted a series of photos in the mirage, using AI technology to restore them in high definition. The coconut as big as a water tank is the most unremarkable among them. In one of the photos, after being magnified 100 times, a mysterious flying object appeared in the sky, with leather wings, sharp claws, and scarlet eyes, like a large bat. According to mathematical calculations, this bat could be 10 meters long, Peter Greer wrote. Only the pterosaurs that appeared in the dinosaur era have reached such a size. Pterosaurs weighed about 250 kilograms, and I estimate that this bat weighs the same. Its sharp fangs can easily kill an adult. Another photo shows a boat of fishermen landing on an island. Professor Peter enlarged the photo and captured a corner of it. Look here, the plants on the island are slowly crawling. Judging from their appearance, they may be terrifying man-eating plants. Fortunately, some of the humans trapped in the mysterious area may have superpowers, and they may be able to solve the current troubles. Someone posted a comment below, "Professor, why do mirages appear? Why do mysterious areas appear?" Professor Peter replied, "I don't have any evidence or news now, but I personally think that the end of the world has come, but it hasn't really come yet. God threw a small number of people into the mysterious area, and mirages appeared again, in order to bring enlightenment to the world and allow some of us to survive the real doomsday. These mirages, like scenes in a movie, are just to bring us enlightenment. Only real death can wake up the world and let us know the cruelty of the future. So it is difficult for these more than 4,000 people to really survive," Professor Peter Greer said shockingly. "If this conjecture is true, mirages should appear all over the world tomorrow, and there will definitely be more exciting scenes. Perhaps, some people will die in despair." Bluebird CEO and the world's richest man, Nix, liked this tweet and commented, "Superpowers, death survival, humans in desperate situations. God is as cruel as ever. It's time for humans to unite, but this is just a luxury, isn't it? The only thing we can confirm is that in a disaster, humans cannot unite, and will only die in division." Then, netizens began to spread this tweet like crazy. Death survival, doomsday theory and superpowers brought enough gimmicks to attract countless people's attention. Even those who survived the earthquake picked up their phones and liked it crazily. In this age of entertainment to death, as long as you are not dead, you have to play with your phone. Playing with mobile phones is the first driving force for world peace. Soon, Professor Peter Greer's Bluebird tweet received more than 100 million likes, defeating the tweet of King Messi winning the World Cup with an unmatched trend and becoming the world's most liked. And parapsychology professor Peter Greer received more than 10 million followers a day. But in the frenzy of public opinion, the arguments began to slowly become distorted, and all kinds of comparisons soon became rampant. God is actually selecting the best race? The men of my day tribe have the ability to become invisible, and they are worthy of being the best race in the world. My friend, look at the human whose body is suspended in the sky. He is a Brahmin baptized by the water of the Ganges and will definitely survive to the end. Wake up, my friend, the one you are talking about has immigrated to the United States. He told me secretly that the water of the Ganges, cow urine and cow dung cakes are a perfect combination. The one who can breathe fire, did he have a genetic mutation? How did superpowers appear? This is very confusing. Some people's attention was focused on the survivors on the deserted island. The other pictures were all multi-person teams, and only this yellow-skinned and black-haired man existed alone. A large number of banana people were sarcastically saying, he doesn't seem to have superpowers, so he should be the first to die, and he may not even see tomorrow's sun. After all, they are a race that doesn't believe in God, so why would God favor them? From the looks of him, he is already in despair, and he will go crazy soon. Of course, some people were also on the outside of the wall, saying, you don't think that God will favor someone like you, do you? If I throw you into the mysterious area, you will be the first to die. Chapter 6. The first night. The waves were getting bigger and bigger. The radio station on the beach was broadcasting news intermittently. With his greatly improved perception, Zhang Ming could barely hear the sound of the radio station in the distance. Fusang was hit by an 8.0 magnitude earthquake. Mount Fuji has re-entered its active period. Experts expect a volcanic eruption within a month. Tens of millions of people have fled to the outside of the city, causing traffic paralysis and a major traffic accident that killed 202 people. 8 tsunami hit the Hawaiian area. The deadly tsunami caused hundreds of billions of property losses. The authorities doubled the number of people evacuated. 4 mysterious areas appeared in the Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic and Indian Oceans, covered by fog, and unknown changes occurred. Zhang Ming was enjoying a bag of potato chips with relish. I don't know which Taoist left this precious legacy. One by one, he enjoyed it slowly, even licking the salt on his fingers. Oh, Mount Fuji is going to erupt. Halfway through, he became even hungrier. He picked up another small piece of bread and started to chew it. After enjoying the bread, the violent feeling of hunger was relieved a little. Why am I so hungry all of a sudden? Taking advantage of the last rays of the sun, he built a shelter. He pushed together several huge coconuts that had fallen on the ground, forming a circle, and then picked up a few palm leaves that were more than 2 meters long and covered the coconuts. Finally, he spread a layer of clothes on the ground. Experts claim that the frequent activity of the Earth's crust is the main cause of the current earthquakes. The total GDP of the world may drop by about 40% due to the disaster. Zhang Ming spat. Why did it suddenly become like this? The experience of this day was even more outrageous than traveling through time. He seemed to remember something, and habitually took out his mobile phone from his pocket and turned it on. When he turned it on, the battery level was 19%, a number that made people feel desperate. And there was no network. At this moment, the only thought in his mind was, damn, the 648 krypton I spent on Original Demon yesterday has not yet been drawn. Damn it. A tropical depression east of the Philippines has been formed this morning. At 8 a.m., its center was located on the northwest Pacific Ocean, 445 kilometers east of Manila, Philippines, at 14.1 degrees north latitude and 125.1 degrees east longitude, 7 levels, 14 meters per second, 1003 HPA. It is expected that the low pressure will move from north to northeast at a speed of 10 to 15 kilometers per hour in the ocean east of the Philippines, slowly increasing in intensity and forming a super typhoon. Zhang Ming hid in a pile of coconuts, listening to the radio. All kinds of earthquakes, typhoons, tsunamis, and volcanoes, all came up, as if to plow the whole world viciously. He was increasingly worried about his relatives and friends. However, the current situation is delicate, and he can only take care of himself first. After all, Daksha is a world power with a vast inland area to avoid disasters. It shouldn't be a big problem, right? Water, fire, food, and shelter, the 4 elements of survival. There are about 20 bottles of water and Coke. If you drink sparingly, it will probably last more than a week. There are quite a few coconuts around. but eating coconuts may cause diarrhea, and if no one rescues, the disease may mean death. What's more, Zhang Ming is not sure whether these coconuts, which are as big as water tanks, are poisonous. Even though his physique is 2.5 times that of an ordinary person, he dare not take too much risk. Food is also scarce, even more scarce than water. Zhang Ming feels that he does not have the starvation talent of Yi, 3 days of hunger and 9 meals, especially after raising physique to 51 points and building a temporary shelter with great effort. Hunger is constantly eroding his sanity. The bread and half a bag of potato chips he just ate are just a drop in the bucket, but they stimulated his appetite. After counting for a while, the bread, biscuits and other foods he has on hand can only last for 2 days, and he is not full. Rubbing his temples, suppressing the violent desire to eat, Zhang Ming took a long deep breath, a deep breath. Of course, the good news is that there are more than 100 blind boxes, that is, those suitcases that have not been opened. Even if most of the suitcases are filled with clothes, there should be at least some food and water, right? Time passed by, the sky was completely dark, a full moon hung high above, the stars were shining like a waterfall. In this area without light pollution, the vast Milky Way was like a picture scroll on Earth. On the first night here, Zhang Ming couldn't sleep at all, his reason was constantly fighting against hunger. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the distance, accompanied by a sharp squeak of metal tearing. Zhang Ming suddenly woke up from his daze. Radio, noise, sir, what was the sound just now? Noise, is the tide coming up? Are you nearby? Did you have an earthquake over there? Bullshit. There was another loud squeak, this one was even more piercing than the previous one. It was as if the lid of the entire cabin was forcibly opened by brute force. Zhang Ming widened his eyes in fear, trying to see the location of the wreckage of the plane and what happened. A black shadow. Yes, under the moonlight, a black life form was frantically feeding on human corpses in the cabin. It was huge, probably tens of meters tall, and like Godzilla, it forcibly lifted the metal layer of the wreckage of the plane, chewing happily in its mouth. In a moment, a feast carnival was formed. Occasionally, there was a dull sound like drumming, which should be its breathing. Zhang Ming was sweating profusely, goosebumps all over his body, and he smelled a rotten smell like a corpse. The stench became stronger and stronger, just like a poison gas bomb that polluted the entire area. He quickly used a towel to get some mineral water and covered his mouth and nose. The radio station also felt something was wrong, and said nervously and seriously, "Sir, I just got a big news. Some unprecedented life forms have appeared in the mysterious area. They are extremely powerful and have hideous looks. They are completely different from normal creatures. Some are plants, and some are animals. Their body length is generally about 3 meters, and the largest is about 5 meters. Zhang Ming was convinced. "Brother, those you met are babies, right? Mine may be dozens of meters long. They have great malice towards humans. Be sure to avoid them. Avoid them. Don't die. Also, the satellite broadcast will be broadcast at around 6 o'clock in the evening." The radio, with a loud pop, the radio station was smashed by the black life form, and the announcer's voice disappeared completely. Zhang Ming hid in the coconut pile, shocked and scared, wanting to cry but without tears, and cursed the Black Shadow's ancestors for 18 generations in his heart. "You guys, I really can't do anything. But don't smash my radio, it's the only way for me to contact humans. When I get up later, I will definitely kill you." Chapter 7 Searching for Supplies. It was a sunny day. The tide receded, revealing the golden beach. The first night on the deserted island was spent without any danger. The monsters ate the corpses in the cabin and then rumbled to the center of the island. But Zhang Ming was in a bad mood, with 2 big dark circles under his eyes. In order to prepare for the possible battle, he accidentally ate a lot of food last night to replenish his energy. In short, he was running out of food. That guy lives in the center of the island back on the beach. The wreckage of the plane was dismantled into pieces, and the original colorful hull scene disappeared. Every drop of human flesh and blood was licked by the unknown creature. On the hard metal plate, there was a rotten smell. Even if it was washed by the tide all night, it could still be smelled faintly. Fortunately, this smell was not toxic, otherwise he would have been poisoned and fell to the ground last night. Zhang Ming came to the location of the radio and debugged it for a while. Unfortunately, the miracle did not happen. The radio was smashed into pieces by a punch. Spirit value -2. After searching for a while, he found a woman's backpack left on the luggage rack in the cabin. "Give me something to eat, please." He opened it and saw a thick stack of US dollars, some cosmetics, a mirror, and a woman's watch, which looked quite exquisite. He counted them, and wow, a full 50,000 US dollars. Equivalent to RMB 350,000. But Zhang Ming was not happy at all, but felt that everything was bland. He searched for a long time, but there was no food, nothing. Once in the airport, there was a sincere beef fried rice in front of me, priced at 68. I hesitated, disliked it because it was too expensive, and rejected it. At this moment, even with 50,000 US dollars, you can't buy a cow hair. Zhang Ming sobbed and suddenly realized that he had realized it. He was 24 years old this year, and he should have enjoyed the world of flowers. But after the horrible baptism of life and death, he finally broke through the world of mortals, understood human nature, reached the true state of unity between man and nature, and headed to the other side of the starry sky. No matter what setbacks and hardships he faces, he can face them calmly. So, from now on, please call me Buddha, Lao Zhang. I want to be on the island, eating coconuts happily. Spirit value -2. The changes in the attribute panel ruthlessly reveal the true thoughts of Buddha, Lao Zhang, and he is having a mental breakdown. The face of Buddha seems to be trampled under the feet of the attribute panel. So, Buddha, Lao Zhang began to give a crazy psychological massage. When God wants to give a great task to a person, he must first make his heart and mind suffer, his muscles and bones tired, and his body hungry. Spirit value -1. What's going on? Fuck the universe. Spirit value +2. Zhang Ming, enlightened. It turns out that he is the fighting Saint Buddha who beat the Jade Emperor. After all, fighting Buddha is also a Buddha. Earth. A new mirage has appeared. Countless supernatural enthusiasts have been staying up all night, and finally waited for the new video released online as soon as possible. Mirages appear randomly around the world. They are not real-time information and are often delayed for several hours. These enthusiasts divided the screens into 1-16, according to the number of people. The luxury cruise ship carrying 3,000 passengers naturally received more attention and was called Mirage Number 1. As for the survivor on the deserted island, there was only one person, called Mirage Number 16. Some twisted people with great malice gloated over the misfortune. Look, the wreckage of this plane is the property of the airline, and these suitcases belong to the dead. Can we take them? He can't. Taking without permission is stealing. This character is really disappointing. A lot of people who climbed over the wall ran over to confront them. After all, the trapped person is a young man of Daksha. Is it the turn of these people with bad intentions to slander him? Even if the future is not optimistic, are you so happy? You can criticize this? Fuck you. The famous Australian writer Wo Shishabi said that when you get to know them, you will find that any behavior you do towards them is not discrimination, because their thoughts are isolated from the world. Seeing that Zhang Ming was still alive, Li Xianfeng was also slightly relieved. The plane was indeed dismantled by a monster. It is impossible for a simple tide to destroy a plane like this. They received some terrifying voices through the radio yesterday and learned some information that outsiders did not know. Zhang Ming is in a worrying situation, another expert said. As far as I know, last night, only we briefly contacted the survivor Zhang Ming in Area 16 through the radio. There was no response from the trapped people in other mysterious areas. Can't contact others. Yes, the mysterious area in the Pacific Ocean may be special, and satellite signals can enter. Many experts in the room carefully analyzed the pictures, including well-known biologists, military experts, information scientists and other experts from all walks of life, a total of more than 20 people. The bodies inside were eaten by monsters. How big is this guy at night? If he appears here, can we deal with him? I think we can deal with it. After all, the plane is not a tank, and the armor is not thick. But no matter what, it may cause some casualties, the military expert sitting on the left said. Of course, if these things have superpowers, it's hard to say. Li Xianfeng frowned and listened to the discussion. Zhang Ming's mental state doesn't look good. He doesn't have any superpowers, right? It's hard to say. At this point, he can only rely on himself. After a careful search, there is really nothing particularly good. The tide last night washed away most of the supplies. The biggest gain was an aviation medical first aid kit fixed on the rear luggage rack, which contained a lot of medicines, including antibiotics, medical alcohol, and first aid supplies such as bandages. SR-level supplies. Zhang Ming's eyes lit up and he put it away. He also found 2 nylon ropes, each about 5 meters long. I don't know why there are ropes on the plane. The broken communication station cannot be repaired. It can only be strategically abandoned. Zhang Ming thought for a while and thought that the rescue team would not come too early. He might have to live on this horrible desert island for a while, so it was necessary to build a qualified shelter. So he carried back 2 first-class chairs. With these things, he could sleep normally, instead of lying on the ground and being exposed to wet dew. He also carried large pieces of metal plates and several broken wings to the shore. With a physique of 51 points, he could easily move objects weighing 1 or 200 kilograms. If you were placed in the human society, he would have been a qualified brick mover. After working for half a day, Zhang Ming found himself hungry again. The shortage of food has become the biggest problem at the moment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: The Gift That Saves Life. After finishing the last half bag of potato chips and suppressing his raging hunger, Zhang Ming turned his attention to the more than 100 blind boxes that had not yet been opened, those suitcases that had not yet been opened. Yesterday, I was just busy moving things and had no time to open them one by one. Now, while the sun is strong and my mood is raging, I need to hide in the shade of the tree for a psychological massage. Spirit. 15/30. You feel that your life is based on the defense. Zhang Ming was shocked. This thing actually dared to laugh at himself nakedly. Aren't you a part of me? Since my life is a pile of shit, isn't your life with a golden finger a maggot parasitic on shit? Spirit. 14/30. You feel that your life is a maggot eating shit. Zhang Ming was convinced, patted his forehead, and gave himself a psychological massage for 10 minutes to calm himself down. The joy of opening a blind box is always full of expectations. Facing a pile of suitcases, Zhang Ming felt that his saliva was being secreted continuously. This reminded him of the scene when he couldn't wait to draw the lottery after recharging 648. Although he was so anxious most of the time and regretted his impulsiveness, who knows if he would become a European one day? This is a blind box that determines his fate. With trembling fingers, he unzipped the suitcase. A bag of clothes, all clothes. It was useless. Another bag of clothes, women's, an electric toothbrush, black toothpaste, a few towels, a lot of cosmetics, ski magic water, I don't understand. Another bag of clothes, and a laptop. Another bag of clothes. There was also a lot of money in it, $20,000, spirit value -1. After opening 10 bags of clothes in a row, Zhang Ming was numb, sweat soaked his clothes, and he was a little anxious. He suddenly remembered that he only brought a box of clothes in his suitcase. Most of the passengers on the plane were going to Hawaii for vacation. It is impossible for a normal person to carry 50 kilograms of rice on the plane. Thinking of this, he opened the next suitcase dejectedly, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Half a suitcase of clothes, and half a suitcase of math textbooks, postgraduate entrance examination questions, notebooks, ballpoint pens, and some study tools. These books were obviously read many times, and there were some lines and records on them, and the words were crooked like chicken claws. On the title page of Advanced Mathematics it was written, I must pass the postgraduate entrance examination next year. Come on, this line of text was unusually neat, and it can be seen that it was written with a very serious attitude. The next sentence, written in a different handwriting, read, stupid, get ashore quickly. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, looking at these textbooks and the handwriting on them. Gradually, an indescribable feeling of frustration came over my heart, and it kept getting worse, turning into a feeling of helplessness in the face of future destiny. So we continued to struggle forward, sailing against the current, and being pushed back by the torrent until we returned to the past years, the ancient times when there was nothing. We were empty-handed, and we could only rely on ourselves. It's good to be alive, Zhang Ming murmured in his heart. I shouldn't ask for too much, and I shouldn't be impatient. These are your legacy, your last gift, spirit +1, the next suitcase, with clothes for adults and children. Shows that it is a family of 3. The little girl should be about 10 years old, an age with an infinite future. The next one, maybe a couple on their honeymoon? The next one, maybe a middle-aged couple? Disappeared lives, like smoke and clouds. When everything returns to dust, It can be proved that the value of life is not as heavy as imagined. Among the countless people hundreds of years ago, how many people have been recorded in history, and how many people have left their own names? The biggest thing in your life is just a small thing in history. If you die, you die. Zhang Ming sighed and solemnly opened the next suitcase. In addition to clothes, it actually contained an electric rice cooker, about 5 kilograms of rice, and a small bag of something like soil. He grabbed the bag of rice and collapsed on the ground. Tears couldn't help but flow from his eyes. Help me, some people are easily acclimatized, and they get diarrhea and allergies when they change to a new environment. So when leaving home, they will pack a small bag of rice and some soil from their hometown in their suitcases. When you miss your hometown, grab a handful of porridge to temporarily relieve your homesickness. The survival crisis has eased. 5 kilograms of rice can last for several days. As for the rice cooker, although there is no electricity here, the inner pot of the rice cooker can be used, which is equivalent to a ready-made pot. Thank you, this one, we will be brothers and sisters in the next life. Zhang Ming was grateful. Spirit value +2, the next blind box. The luck is here, and it has been shipped continuously. 2 black hams from Jinhu area. There may be 20 kilograms of ham meat in total. This gentleman or lady must want to give the ham to others, right? Does he have relatives and friends in Hawaii? While Zhang Ming was happy, he couldn't help but think of his aunt. When the aunt greeted the new year, she liked to give some local specialties, especially pickled products such as ham and bacon. Even though these local specialties are not very delicious, the family only consumes 1 ham in a year, but before the new year, she brought a new one. However, it has been 2 years since my aunt left. In the past 2 years, Zhang Ming has never eaten ham again. Unexpectedly, on this deserted island with no people, he received a precious gift that could save his life. Thank you, Earth. As time passed, mirages in various mysterious areas appeared one after another. In theory, there are considerable differences in the time zones of the Pacific, Arctic, Indian and Atlantic Oceans, but the time difference in the mirage seems to be the same. As a result, most people shifted their attention from Zhang Ming to the citizens of their own country. The form of each team is not beautiful. The problem of resource scarcity is in front of us. The major ships in the mysterious area have been in contact for a night, but they cannot contact a human base camp. In the vast ocean, there are no satellite signals, no traces of civilization, no flying birds, nothing. Even this sea is terrifyingly deep. The color of the seawater is blue with black, and the waves are almost non-existent, like a silent mirror, extending to the end of the boundless world. Some teams are lucky enough to find islands, but the plants and animals on the islands are strange and completely different from the creatures on Earth, and there are even monsters. The huge pressure of survival strikes the hearts of the survivors. In the deepest part of the quiet sea, people welcome the challenges of a new day with confusion and uncertainty. Chapter 9. I'll definitely meet you in my next life. 1. A large luxury cruise ship. The captain is taking the crew to count the supplies. As a tourist ship, it carries a month's worth of food, so there is no shortage of supplies for the time being. The superpower who can emit flames all over his body is talking to the captain. He looks quite dissatisfied, as if questioning why they have come to this ghost place. How big is this ocean? If they can't find a new continent, will they all starve to death? Are the supplies on the ship distributed equally or weighted? I am a superpower, why can't I have more supplies? Violence is the underlying logic of human society. Love and tolerance are not worth mentioning in the face of survival. The current order has not collapsed yet, it is entirely due to the inertia of the past world. Number 2 is a large cargo ship, and the containers are opened one by one. The crew tried to find more food in the cargo. But the so-called cargo ship is naturally used to transport goods, mostly industrial products, and the food is mostly high-end products such as red wine, champagne, and chocolate. Isn't it said that taking without asking is called stealing? The foreigners have also started stealing. I admire them. This is a heroic act of self-rescue. What a bully. The nationality of the number 3 tanker is relatively complicated, and serious internal chaos broke out. The crew members accused the captain of making the wrong route, which led them to an unknown and mysterious area. The captain was also speechless and couldn't figure out what was going on. Therefore, the crew members quickly gathered together according to their nationality. Under extreme external pressure, it can only be said that unity to overcome difficulties is a luxury. Among the 16 mirages, only 2 teams looked sloppy. One was a lone person on an isolated island. Since there was only one person, there was no way to cause internal strife. The other was an Arctic Ocean scientific expedition team, which was going to explore the Arctic, so the team quality was excellent. This was only the second day. More people around the world were attracted to Mirage number 7. On an ocean-going whaling ship, a group of people gathered together, one of whom slapped another person fiercely and cursed something. Then, the two people wrestled with each other. The ocean whaling activities of the Japanese have always been notorious. As endangered animals, whales are protected by most countries, but the Japanese, under the pretext of scientific research, drove ships deep into the Pacific Ocean and hunted whales that other countries had worked hard to protect. This time, a ship was trapped in a mysterious area, and several sailors awakened superpowers, including a young man who was originally in a relatively low position and was often bullied. He was usually used to pull it, but now he suddenly became awesome. What's worse is that there are some foreign workers on this whaling ship. They were originally in a relatively low position, and a superpower was born. The captain is called Omiya Akiki and the deck chief is called Noda Hiraharu, neither of whom has superpowers. So things became complicated. The ocean is a real lawless place. Unlike land, people who are used to living on the ocean keep those potential rules secret and are more loyal to the underlying logic based on violence. A whaling ship, in a desperate predicament and endless sea, quickly differentiated into 3 camps. The superpowers who were originally of relatively low status gave birth to subtle ambitions. The captain and several incapable people still wanted to control the overall situation, and there was also a foreign labor camp that was worried and afraid of being thrown into the sea. The Mirage had no sound, like a silent movie, and netizens could only guess what happened to Mirage number 7 from the picture. Let me fill in the plot for everyone. They think they have traveled to another world, in the endless sea. No matter what, the resources are not enough. They want to throw people from other countries into the sea. The whaling activities of little flip-flops have finally been punished by God. It is said that the Fuso people have had a tradition of overthrowing the superiors since ancient times, and now they have finally seen it. Fuso, which is at the cusp of the storm, naturally cannot admit this matter, and forcibly argues that the whaling operation is for scientific research, controlling the number of whales, for sustainable development and so on. It even claims that the Mirage is just a delusion of nature and a false product. But all these sophistry are useless. Countless eyes around the world are watching this matter. People only believe what they see. If the Japanese really throw foreign workers into the sea, it will be a complete loss of face in front of the whole world, and at the same time cause huge national hatred. At that time, the diplomatic disputes and waves of public opinion will be like a tsunami, completely submerging the country. Zhang Ming naturally didn't know what happened in the outside world. He just buried his head in sorting out the supplies on hand. His mood was like a roller coaster, surprised and happy, crying and laughing. Each suitcase represents a lost life, and some personality traits of its owner can be vaguely seen from the objects. But they are also precious gifts, adding a small chance for the difficult survival that follows. High heels, black silk, vibrator, condoms, lubricant. Zhang Ming remembered that there were indeed several stunning beauties among the passengers, with heavy makeup on their faces, black silk long legs, and fragrant perfume. They were simply top-level beauties at the model level. When I boarded the plane, I deliberately took a few more glances. I'll definitely meet you in my next life. Even if these things are useless, I'll take them. Spirit +1, next package. Children's clothes and toys, as well as a large amount of diapers and milk powder. Sighed slightly. I'll take the milk powder. The diapers may also come in handy, thank you. Next package. Tent, flashlight, rope, GPS, radio, dagger. Must be an outdoor enthusiast. Hiking in Hawaii is indeed a good choice. It's quite nice to walk around the island. What a pity, there's no food. Wait. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, his pupils dilated, and his eyebrows were full of joy. This package is definitely more advanced than Jinho Ham, the Supreme Gold Invincible SSR level. Because there is a radio and a tent inside. In particular, this radio is actually solar powered, and it can work for a long time by basking in the sun every day. It's really touching. Zhang Ming scratched his neck in surprise, swallowed his saliva, turned on the radio switch, and a rustling sound rang out, meaning that there was no radio signal in this area. According to the radio station's instructions, there will be a satellite broadcast at around 6 p.m. every day. That will be the only way for me to contact human society. Maybe one day, I will hear the news that the rescue team has landed on the island. Chapter 10 What is Civilization? Zhang Ming hugged the radio antenna tightly, and couldn't help but burst into tears. Brother or sister, I owe you this life, and I will pay you back in the next life. The next packages were opened one by one. There were no particularly good survival supplies, but there were more or less gains. There were some foods such as instant noodles, cola, biscuits, and pickled pepper chicken feet, as well as Chinese seasonings such as lao gan ma, fermented tofu, and hot pot base. There were also basic tools such as scissors and knives. But Zhang Ming's tense heartstrings have not been relaxed for a long time. It was as if there was a breath of depression blocking his chest, pressing him to breathe. If he didn't do something, this depression would be blocked forever. These luggage are all the lives that have passed away, transformed into his property. The last box was still a bag of clothes, and the folder contained some contracts written in English and $5,000 in cash. All the blind boxes have been opened. Not counting the ham, the food is expected to last for 10 days, water is also expected to last for 10 days, the total amount of banknotes is $270,000. Zhang Ming was silent for a moment, dug a small pit, put in a few pieces of clothing, and made a small cenotaph. He also moved a large coconut to the pit as a tombstone. He wrote a few lines of small words on the coconut skin with a marker. D's 898th flight, tomb of the crash personnel, the only survivor, Zhang Ming, worship, 20-year month day. After doing all this, the depressed air that was blocked in his mouth slowly disappeared. He raised his head and looked at the red sea of clouds winding for thousands of miles. At the end of the sky, the red maple turned into dark black nothingness. The reason why the ritual can continue to be passed down is not because of its own meaning, but because of what meaning it brings to mankind. What is the meaning of life? Maybe it is the so-called inheritance. Thank you for your gift. I will live with your hope. Definitely. There was a serious internal conflict on the ship of Mirage No. 7, and then a small number of people were locked up. Unfortunately, no one was killed. After all, it was only the second day of being trapped in the mysterious area. The inertia from civilized society still existed, and a group of netizens who wanted to eat big melons were disappointed. People couldn't wait to see the blood flow, but they never thought that this was just a microcosm of the disaster. When the disaster really happened, hundreds of people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of millions of people, in fact, are all like this. Soon, someone focused their attention on Mirage No. 16. The survivor on the deserted island erected a coconut on the beach and wrote a few lines of text. When seeing the few lines of text on the coconut, a large number of people on the external network were immediately puzzled and gloated. Look, he's gone crazy, he mistook coconuts for humans. Ha ha ha, idiot, he just made a grave to sacrifice to his dead companions. It's a pity that the mirage is too blurry to see what he wrote. In the midst of disasters and desperation, a large group of people were fighting among themselves and competing for survival resources. Suddenly, a picture appeared. Humans were sacrificing to the dead, bringing a subtle sense of incompatibility. In the end, the yin and yang people couldn't think of any words and could only curse. Pretentious, he is only one person and has no companions at all, so he can only sacrifice to the dead. If he had companions, he would still fight among himself. It's no big deal. It can even be said to be a self-psychological compensation for taking away the property of the dead. You can also criticize this. I'm going to fuck your psychological compensation. All history is the history of people, from the East African savanna to the Bering Strait, from the Paleolithic age to the Information Age. The sun is still the sun, and the world has always been the world. But people's hearts have changed many times. At 9 p.m. in Washington time, Peter Greer, a parapsychology professor at Harvard University, published a Bluebird tweet. What is a human being? What is civilization? If the laws that a person respects in his heart are destroyed by reality, if a person falls down in a disaster, then what is left of the great dream of mankind? The reason why gods, heroes and poets exist is to give human allies the hope and illusion they need to survive. When the world is no longer generous, where should we go? Where is our pride? When humans in the mysterious zone die, what kind of punishment will the world bring us? He seemed to be hinting at something, but he didn't say it directly. This stirred up a hornet's nest and attracted a lot of trolls. Who do you think you are? You want to be a moral policeman who is high above. Are you a god, a hero, a poet, or a priest? Wake up, you are just a nerd. Of course, there are also some rational voices who are seriously discussing the issue. Professor, I have a big question. What does the appearance of the mirage mean? There is not much difference between the various comments on the internet and the team performance in the mirage, so, humans are just a mob, God's revelation has no meaning. Some people are celebrating the doomsday. Speed up, speed up. I want to see a river of blood. However, no matter how many questions netizens posted, the parapsychology professor did not make any comments. It was getting darker, and it was already evening after all the luggage was packed. There were towering trees with straight and thick trunks, and the overwhelming palm leaves stretched in the air like dark clouds descending on the island. Zhang Ming found a withered tree in the tall jungle. There were no leaves on it, so he didn't have to worry about being smashed into meat paste by sudden high-altitude objects. The diameter of the dead tree was more than 20 meters, and there was a small tree hole in it. Let's set up the tent here and listen to the radio. There might be satellite broadcasts after 6 o'clock in the evening. When debugging the radio, a sizzling sound was heard. Debugging carefully. There's sound. Good evening, dear listeners. I am the announcer Li Xianfeng. Today I will bring you the first-hand news. Dramatic changes are taking place all over the world. Earthquakes and volcanoes around the world have not stopped, electrical noise, and the economy has come to a standstill. Most parts of our country are in non-seismic zones, and the disasters they have suffered are relatively limited. As an industrial country with the most complete industrial chain, we have sufficient capacity to ensure that all people are united. Zizzy, listening to the radio, I feel more motivated to work. Humans are indeed animals that need to socialize. This Li Xianfeng may be the only human that Zhang Ming will be able to contact for some time to come. Zhang Ming wishes he could chat with this guy more. The causes of global disasters have not yet been identified. Scholars have put forward many different hypotheses. Chapter 11. It turns out that we didn't cheat. The first is the geological change theory. Due to unknown reasons, the Earth's crust moves violently and the plates shift violently. Electric noise, the mutual compression between the plates leads to frequent large earthquakes. According to the researchers' investigation, Mount Everest is rising at an unprecedented speed. Noise. The rising speed of Mount Everest has jumped from 1.27 centimeters per year to the current 13 meters per year, which is more than 1,000 times faster. We don't know whether this geological phenomenon will continue for a long time. The second is the parallel world fusion hypothesis. Mutated life forms that hunt humans appear in the ocean. A very small number of people with special abilities also appear among the human population. Mysterious areas have been discovered in the Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic, and Indian Oceans, as if they suddenly appeared within a day. We call these areas mysterious areas. Some experts believe that these extra worlds have occupied the original space, causing the Earth's crust to move significantly. Zhang Ming's ears perked up, and he murmured in his heart, "Extra worlds, parallel worlds." The radio continued. The third hypothesis is the spiritual energy revival theory. The additional mysterious areas may be very different from the original physical rules on Earth. The conflicts at the rule level have led to frequent disasters on Earth, but the emergence of this phenomenon has also benefited some people. To explain it in more easy-to-understand terms, it is the emergence of superpowers. Currently, the proportion of superpowers in the world is about 1 in a million. The closer the humans are to the mysterious area, the higher the proportion of superpowers, and the more unique the strength of the superpowers. Noise. There are about 4,000 survivors in the mysterious area, and about 1 in 10 has superpowers. Spirit +1. Zhang Ming nodded and made a serious face. It turns out that my attribute panel is not a cheat, but my own strength. I am a noble superpower. I'll rely on myself. I only heard the broadcast again. In the mysterious area, there may be more mutant life. They can easily tear the aluminum alloy plates on the surface of the aircraft. This destructive ability is not possessed by normal life. Isn't this what happened last night? It should be that before the radio station was destroyed, the sound of the monster attack was transmitted. Experts analyzed some information and reported it. After setting up his tent, he put the chair removed from the plane and important survival supplies into it. He moved a few coconuts to use as a fence. A simple nest was completed. Lying on the chair and looking up at the stars, he felt a little melancholy. His current life is like a mirage, giving him an unreal feeling. Just last week, he was still worried about renting a house. The rental house in the big city only has one room of 10 square meters, but the monthly rent is 2,000. He wants to find a cheaper one, or find a reliable companion to share the rent. As for, it's free here. He no longer has to worry about the rent. But where is the future? Hungry and full, attribute panels, monsters, superpowers, all shatter the peaceful life. Looking at the stars in the sky, Zhang Ming became more and more lonely. The above is the main news at the moment. Announcer Li Xianfang changed the topic. The following is an introduction to the basics of wilderness survival, the 4 elements of wilderness survival: shelter, drinking water, food, and fire. In the next few days, we will focus on these 4 elements. Among them, clean drinking water is the most important. In areas with large temperature differences between day and night, a stable water source can be obtained by collecting dew. There are several ways to make a dew collector. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment and jumped up from his chair. The method of making a dew collector is very simple. Place a metal plate at an angle in a wet area, and the dew will automatically condense on the surface of the metal plate. When these water droplets condense to a certain extent, they will roll down the slope. He happened to have several metal plates removed from the plane. As for the container problem, it can be solved with a suitcase. He has more than 100 suitcases. At the edge of the island, the wet sea breeze brings enough moisture, and a lot of dew should be produced in one night. In the dark, the night vision ability brought by 30 points of perception was not obvious. Fortunately, he had a hand-cranked flashlight, and quickly made 2 dew collectors and returned to his shelter. If it works, make a few more tomorrow. If it can solve the water problem, it would be great. It was completely dark. The satellite flew away, the broadcast stopped, and the radio lost the signal again. Silence, tension and uneasiness surged in my heart. The second night here, the more nervous I was, the more I wanted to eat, causing his mind to be full of jinho ham, fragrant rice, the warmth of my hometown, and the huge rotten black monster. Zhang Ming felt that his SAM value was dropping wildly, and he couldn't help but lament in his heart, "Can I be a dung beetle and burrow into the soil?" Before going to bed, I originally wanted to increase perception and reduce physique. But the transfer of attributes would consume physical energy, making me even hungrier. In the end, I had to give up. Sleep, sleep. Li Xianfeng finished reading all the manuscripts and sighed softly. The house was shaking slightly, and small earthquakes one after another made the electronic equipment in the room shake along with it. Such small earthquakes of magnitude 3-5 have become the new normal these days. Li Xianfang didn't know whether Zhang Ming, who was trapped in the mysterious area, could hear the satellite broadcast, or whether everything was just a waste of effort. Let fate decide and do our best. When he returned to the office, he found that many colleagues were seriously discussing the progress of today's work. If Zhang Ming can hear the satellite broadcast, we should be able to observe tomorrow that he has made a dew collector, so that the problem of water source can be solved, a military expert said. If Area 16 can receive satellite broadcasts, it will be a unique advantage for survival in the future. The mysterious areas 1 to 15 cannot receive satellite broadcasts, otherwise there would not be a scandal of internal strife. When talking about this matter, everyone was a little gloating. The Fuso country's ocean-going whaling ship has made a big fool of itself in front of the whole world, and it may even cause a diplomatic incident. Fortunately, there is only one person in the mysterious area number 16, so there will be no diplomatic incident no matter what. On the contrary, the dozens of expatriates in the mysterious area number 1 are more worthy of our concern, another expert said. Now those mirages have become a carnival of nationalism. The act of ocean-going whaling touches on the political correctness of the West, which can be regarded as attracting a wave of firepower for us. Otherwise, there will be more public opinion attacking our survivors. Chapter 12, the third day. Should we use the radio to remind Zhang Ming to pay attention to his image? Tell him not to pee and poop on the beach. There's no need for that. A mirage can only show a blurry scene. Moreover, he is already under great psychological pressure now. Applying more pressure will only backfire. Li Xianfeng listened to the conversations of his subordinates and could only shake his head helplessly, sighing in his heart. Humanity, even those in the system, sometimes gloat over other people's misfortunes. It is obviously impossible to want all people to be saints. Moreover, as the earthquake continues, globalization can no longer be reversed, and conservatism and isolation will be the general trend. In modern countries, nationalism is often used as an ideology to unite the country. This ideology will become more extreme as the disaster continues. The stadium is like a battlefield. During each Olympic Games, extreme emotions are most intense in countries around the world. Nowadays, the mysterious zone death survival at the cost of life has attracted countless people's attention. God chooses the strongest race is a kind of public opinion that cannot be suppressed at all. Even in an atheist country like Daksha, there are tens of thousands of civilians who pay attention to the movements in the sky. There are many people who agree with this statement. If Zhang Ming, the mysterious area of trapped people in the number 16 mysterious area, dies in a miserable way, it will cause a major blow to the self-confidence of the people of Daksha. After all, everyone's life is already very hard now, the number of earthquake victims is increasing, and the unemployment rate has soared. But compared with those trapped in the mysterious area, it seems acceptable. As for the internal strife of the Fuzo people, most people still gloat over other people's misfortunes. Don't talk about morality. Only saints can be truly morally perfect. We are all just ordinary people, having fun and hard work. The Fuzo Ministry of Foreign Affairs spends a lot of money every year to mobilize water armies on the internet to beautify itself as high quality and polite. Now that the scandal of the mysterious area has come out, all this money has gone down the drain. But what if Zhang Ming in the mysterious area number 16 dies? Then other countries will certainly laugh at them, and will also launch a round of public opinion offensives with internal maggots, such as God hates Orientals, Daksha people cannot survive the great disaster, there are disadvantages at the genetic level. Various scripts have been written, waiting for Zhang Ming in the mysterious area number 16 to die. Thinking of this, Li Xianfang covered his temples with a headache. Everyone, think about what kind of content to send tomorrow, so that our comrade Zhang can persist in the mysterious area longer. Do you want to experience the feeling of being stuffed? Do you want your belly to become bigger and bigger? KFC Crazy Thursday, chicken addiction, 50 yuan to eat full chicken. Delicious. Zhang Ming woke up drowsily from hunger and blinked hard. Confirmed that he was just dreaming. Spirit value -1, it was dawn and a little drizzle fell. He found that his spirit value became 1530, you didn't sleep well, and you were hungry and a little confused, it was cut in half. Zhang Ming was helpless about the fact that he would collapse at any time. He really wanted to have a talent for starving people who could go hungry for 9 meals in 3 days. It's the 3rd day. I must have a full meal, otherwise, I will go crazy. He opened a pack of instant noodles and began to chew them dry. Crunch, crunch, they were gone in a few bites. He cut a few slices of ham and ate them raw. He stuck out his tongue. This thing was really choking. He ate another pack of biscuits. He ate another Wangzhe milk candy. He ate it again. He couldn't eat any more. When he was hungry, no matter what he ate, it was delicious. But while relieving his hunger, he also felt guilty. After all, the food he had was limited. He would eat until the mountain was empty, and then he would eat the jujube pill. His spirit value slowly rose to 24/30. You are quite satisfied with your current state of satiety. In fact, you can still eat, right? Eat to your heart's content, eat enthusiastically, and eat with confidence, eat your ghosts. Zhang Ming slowly breathed a sigh of relief. He began to study his gold finger. The total attribute is 149 points. He is 24 years old this year, and 25 points of lifespan are necessary. Therefore, there are 124 points of attributes that can be freely allocated to physique, perception, and spirit. Physique, as the name suggests, is related to physical fitness. Whether it is strength, physical fitness, jumping, or immunity to diseases, it is all related to this attribute. Strength seems to increase linearly with physique. An ordinary person's physique is about 20 points, and can lift 50 kilograms, adding points to 40. You can lift 100 kilograms, adding points to 60. You can lift 150 kilograms, 60 points of physique. Can't be considered to exceed the limit of human beings, but it is also considered to be the level of professional weightlifters. However, the adjustment of attributes will consume a lot of physical strength. In the case of severe food shortage, it is better to reduce the adjustment process as much as possible. The perception attribute is closely related to vision, hearing, touch, and body coordination. If the physique attribute is too high and the perception attribute is too low, it will be top-heavy and the body will be out of control. To put it simply, the limbs are strong and the mind is simple. It is not good to have too low perception. The current world is no longer the earth of the past, but a mysterious area. The man-eating monster is still wandering around the island. I need to maintain perception above 30 points. As for the spirit attribute, it is more mysterious than Perception. It seems to be related to psychological activities and the quality of hibernation. The higher the spirit attribute, the less time you can hibernate. If the spirit value is too low, you will naturally feel depressed, mentally collapsed, give up on yourself, and lie down directly. This is the most troublesome thing for Zhang Ming. His current spirit value fluctuates greatly, which is directly linked to blood sugar. It rises when he is full and falls when he is hungry. Of course, there is another way to increase the spirit value. God of heaven, fuck the universe, spirit +1, it really works. Zhang Ming always feels that he is running all the way towards a psychopath. Hell is empty and the devil is on earth. He can't survive unless he becomes a psychopath. After some adjustments, physique. 46/50, I didn't rest well. And I haven't fully recovered yet, perception. 35/35, normal, spirit. 26/35, after cursing, I'm barely satisfied, lifespan. 24/29, this short-lived ghost has only 5 years to live. Stay away from radioactive elements, otherwise you may die suddenly, total attributes. 149, I sacrificed my lifespan in some evil way to make myself less weak. Chapter 13, Hunting Monsters. I've never seen a golden finger that calls me an evildoer. Zhang Ming got out of the tent and found that the drizzle had stopped. He carefully planned his day. Today I must find food and then find a way to make a fire. As for the water source, he first glanced at the dew collected in the suitcase, and his heart was immediately happy. After a night of brewing, plus the drizzle in the morning, the clear and transparent dew in the suitcase was about 800 milliliters, and the 2 suitcases were 1,600 milliliters. As long as 5 or 6 more dew collectors are made, the water source problem can be basically solved. Zhang Ming seized every opportunity to give a psychological massage. This is 10,000 times easier than Dai's survival on a deserted island. Dai is naked, and I still have so many tools here, or, have some fun. 2 minutes later, Zhang Ming stood up from the bushes, wiped his butt with dead leaves, and glanced at the attribute panel, spirit +1, as for why he had to poop in the bushes instead of on the beach. Of course, if the rescue team came and found that he was running in the fruit, wouldn't it be embarrassing? Ahem, let's get down to business. He collected a lot of dead leaves and branches and exposed them to the sun. Then, he picked up a hollow metal tube that was removed from an airplane, perhaps a water pipe in the toilet, as a self-defense item, and began his food search journey. The deserted island is very large. The forest is dense, the weeds are overgrown, and the towering palm trees block out the sun, as if entering a world where giants exist. Therefore, Zhang Ming chose to stay away from the jungle and just hang out at the beach. There are not many animals living here, and occasionally you can see a few seagulls flying through the sky. The body of a seagull may be 1 meter long, and its wings are about 3 meters wide, which is 2 orders of magnitude larger than those on Earth. In any case, the fact that birds exist is better than having no life at all. Squinting his eyes, he saw the seagull's nest on the coconut tree. I wonder if there are any little birds. After a moment of hesitation, Zhang Ming thought that there was no need for him to climb a coconut tree 100 meters high just to take out bird eggs. In case the seagull gets angry and pecks at him, he will sing a song of coolness. He kept walking along the beach and picked up a few small shells, which were not even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth, but it was better than nothing. He climbed over a higher rock wall. His current physique was indeed very strong. He climbed over the rock wall more than 3 meters high without any effort. This made Zhang Ming a little uncomfortable. Then, he looked down and saw a group of crabs. What a big group. There were thousands of crabs spitting bubbles on the mudflats, happily enjoying the large algae in the shallow beach. Food. Zhang Ming's eyes flashed with light, the adrenaline in his body rose, and his spirit value soared, +1 +1 +1 +1. Then, he found that the situation was different. Aren't these crabs too big? The smallest baby crab is as big as a bucket, and the largest is even comparable to a washing machine. These guys were rampant on the mudflats, with long green legs with sharp whips and huge bodies splayed out to the left and right, looking like giant spiders twisting in the sea. A few crabs discovered a peeper standing on a high place, and they swarmed in his direction. Billy, something was wrong. Facing the dense army of crabs, Zhang Ming ran away, turned around and jumped off the rock wall. With a few thumps, several chasing crabs failed to break in time, and fell from the rock wall with their 8 legs facing the sky, stacking together. Zhang Ming was delighted. thinking that he had picked up a ready-made one. But he didn't expect that these crabs were extremely vigorous and would be fine after falling. One by one, they quickly turned over, waving their huge claws, and continued to chase in his direction, emitting billy screams from their mouths. "Why are you chasing me? Don't you want to eat me?" Zhang Ming ran for his life. Billy, fortunately, his current running speed is comparable to that of Bold, and he jumped into the coconut forest in no time. The crabs seemed to be afraid of the forest, and did not pursue rashly, but retreated again. Then, Zhang Ming sneaked out again, crawling on the ground, with blood boiling, and his mind full of crab meat. There may be great terrors in the forest, and crabs dare not go deep into it rashly, but if I don't beat the crabs, I will be in trouble. After a while, he found a small crab alone on the beach. He quietly seized the opportunity, took a small water pipe and suddenly jumped up, hitting the other's bulging black eyeballs with all his strength. "Die for me, Billy, what a big crab, is this already a monster level, can I beat it?" Countless pairs of eyes were staring at the scene in the Mirage on number 16, and their hearts were beating back and forth following the steps of the crabs. Fat driver Wang Fumin was no exception. He was hiding in the shelter with his daughter. A large open-air stadium with more than 10,000 tents. The government distributes 3 meals a day and issues some volunteer work. One person in a family of 3 must participate in the work. His wife, a nurse, has already been a volunteer worker. When Wang Fumin has nothing to do, his biggest entertainment is to stare at the mirage in the sky, play with his mobile phone, and look after his daughter. It's a rare opportunity to lie down, and life without having to struggle for a mortgage is quite happy. "Hey, Dad, the monster is coming." The young daughter was so scared that her face turned pale and pointed to the sky. "Crab monster, then don't look at it." The fat driver covered his daughter's eyes. He said helplessly to his companions who were bragging and gossiping around him, "Why would this guy go to catch crabs when he is fine? This crab is so big, like a monster. If he can't beat it, he might be eaten. There is no way. He doesn't have much food," a man with glasses next to him said while typing on his laptop. "Even if he saves money, he can't last too long." The man with glasses is named Lu Tuiyu, a professional programmer who just graduated from college this year and is now semi-unemployed. He is the main force of the line against Runrin outside the wall and an avid fan of Zhang Ming. "While I am in good physical condition now, I can still fight against these crabs. If I starve for a while, I will be dizzy and can't even run, and I can only wait to die passively." "That's true," Wang Fumin agreed deeply. "If it were me, I might really starve to death. Didn't you notice that this guy runs faster than ordinary people? He should have superpowers, but I don't know what they are." Lu Tuiyu showed a forum post. Chapter 14: A crab leg. There are experts among the people, and some people who are interested in calculating Zhang Ming's running speed through various references. Faster than Bolt, 100 meters in just 9.2 seconds. Of course, there may be errors in the calculation. But this guy definitely runs very fast. It's good to have superpowers, but I'm afraid he doesn't have a trump card and will accidentally overturn. Wang Fumin took out a cigarette, but didn't light it, just took a dry puff. Cigarettes have become hard currency. In just 2 days, the price has soared 20 times. In the future, the price will rise. For the brother trapped on the deserted island, Wang Fumin didn't know how to describe this strange feeling. He always felt at this time the whole people's star chasing was more than 10 times more exaggerated than Liu Xiang's year. It was as if this death game had a very important meaning behind it, and this brother represented the great Xia kingdom to go to war. But there was no way to ask for too much. After all, failure to survive meant death. It is said that a small number of superpowers have appeared here. Wang Fumin stared at the sky and asked casually. There are very few of them, only 1 or 2 in each city, and most of them have been recruited by the government. The bespectacled man Lu Tuiyu was fighting outside the wall, and he said without looking back, "The spiritual energy is revived, and the people in the mysterious area are the first to revive, and then the surrounding areas will be revived." It is precisely because of the appearance of a small number of superpowers that the scene in the mirage is probably real. I don't know why this mirage appears. Many people abroad say that it is inspired by God. They keep talking about God all day long, but I haven't seen their superpowers being particularly awesome. Wang Fumin didn't think so much. He is 36 years old this year, has a warm family, and still owes a lot of mortgage to the bank. As for superpowers and the like, well, what can I say? Even if there are superpowers, what's the matter? Can humans beat guns and artillery shells? Don't you have to pay the mortgage? Are you superior to others and regard all living beings as ants? Don't you have to shit to eat? Of course, if you have superpowers, you can find a higher salary and live a better life, which is naturally the best. Just like this deserted island survival guy became famous, in just a few days, his popularity and reputation have surpassed the former national sports stars Liu Xiong, Zhang Ming, and Ma Long. The scene of death and survival stimulated the nerves of every follower. The atmosphere of discussion was everywhere. The appearance of the crab scene instantly attracted hundreds of millions of online discussions. This is much more fanatical than sports competitions. If this guy can come back alive, the advertising endorsement fee will definitely be cramped. Even middle-aged people like Wang Fumin are obsessed with it, just like chasing a TV series. If there is new content, it will itch in the heart. If someone spoils it, it will be even more irritable. Look at Mirage number 7. Something big has happened. Look, a voice suddenly rang out in the stadium. Wang Fumin and Lu Tuiyu quickly focused their attention on the other side of the sky. Mirage number 7. A blue jellyfish-like life form climbed up on the Fuzhou People's ocean-going whaling ship. Good boy, I'm really good. Lu Tuiyu took a breath of cold air with gloating. Ocean-going whaling ships are generally equipped with cold chain equipment to preserve the seafood they catch. But at this moment, in order to save energy, the crew took the initiative to close several cold storages on the ship, and put the fish meat on the deck to dry and marinate for long-term preservation. Now it has attracted that strange blue jellyfish. The size of this thing is about the size of a cow. Under the transparent skin, the internal organs are clearly visible. Various cavities secrete digestive fluids and slowly wriggle. This crazy biological structure alone impacts the human visual nerves. What's even more terrifying is that there are about 30 densely packed eyeballs on the jellyfish's head. It crawled towards the marinated seafood like crazy. Wang Fumin swallowed his saliva. This horror movie-like scene was really scary. He covered his daughter's eyes and muttered in his heart, "It's okay. The victim is a Japanese, it's none of our business." Then he turned his attention to the mysterious area number 16, where Zhang Ming was beating up crabs. A fierce battle was taking place in the mysterious area number 16. There was a loud bang. The metal water pipe hit a hard object. Under the strong recoil, Zhang Ming felt pain in his palm. Beep! The crab's reaction speed was much faster than Zhang Ming expected. In a flash, it clamped the water pipe with its big claws. Then there was a click. The small water pipe made of aluminum alloy was clamped off. Zhang Ming's scalp numbed, and he felt the oncoming crab claws, and a deadly cold feeling came over him. At the critical moment, he suddenly retracted his penis into his abdomen and took a small step back. He felt a chill at the root of his thigh. He glanced at it out of the corner of his eye. His jeans were cut open, and the treasure that would carry on his family line almost fell out. "You're a slut, bleep," the crab screamed louder and louder. Zhang Ming ran towards the coconut grove, sweating all over, his mind racing, trying to think of a way to fight the crab. The crab was relentless, chasing him sideways, screaming wildly. It was just a little bit away from the delicious meat. How could it let its prey escape? Zhang Ming came up with a plan and quickly climbed onto a boulder. The crab also climbed up, waving its huge claws and continuing to clamp his thighs. "Get down!" Zhang Ming's arm muscles suddenly exerted force, and he pushed the small water pipe forward from a high position. With a bang, the water pipe stabbed the crab's belly and pushed it down. The crab rolled off the stone and fell hard. After all, Zhang Ming was quite strong, and he used 120% of his strength to poke him. The crab might have been slightly injured, and stopped climbing the boulder. Its long legs danced like flying, and it crawled away sideways. It was still shouting bilibili in its mouth, and it was obvious that it was very unwilling. Zhang Ming took a deep breath, looked at the big crab that escaped into the sea, and calmed his pounding heart. He began to worry, and was afraid of his reckless behavior just now. In the original world, crabs were just food that could be slaughtered at will. Therefore, in his subconscious, he was not too timid about crabs, even though these guys looked as huge as monsters. But now the crabs want to eat people in turn. Whether it is combat power or ferocity, it is far beyond the past. In other words, he is at the bottom of the food chain. Even with a golden finger, it is still the same. I am indeed a rookie. He felt that it was too difficult for him. He was alone, unable to ask for help, without help, and everything had to rely on himself. Don't be so reckless in the future. Everything on the island is different from the past. I can't beat the crabs I found with great difficulty. There is no source of food. What should I do in the future? If we live on empty space, we can only survive for 10 days or half a month at most. Will the rescue team arrive within 10 days? Probably not. Suddenly, his pupils dilated and he saw a blue-gray crab leg under the boulder. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 The Best Day of Your Life. The crab leg, which was so plump and heart-pounding, and more tempting than black and white silk, just fell to the ground alone. Zhang Ming's heartbeat quickened again, and he picked up the crab leg in disbelief. It was hard, with prickly hair, and a trace of lubricating mucus. It should be the leg that the crab just fell off the boulder. His face was full of rich expressions. The crab leg was so big, as thick as an adult's arm, and weighed about 10 pounds. The turning point of fate came so quickly that Zhang Ming was so excited that his whole body was shaking and hot, and he was smoking. At this moment, he felt that his defense was broken, and tears rolled down unconsciously. He even had an impulse in his heart to find the big crab again and feed it as a life-saving crab, eating only one leg a day and not its body. Anyway, the crab legs can regenerate, so it's a waste not to eat them. He kept feeding it, until the day it died of old age. He quickly put the crab legs into his backpack, looked around like a thief, made sure no monster noticed him, and ran away. This is not a crab leg, but happiness, joy, and happiness. And life, spirit +1+1+1, should I steam, grill, or boil the legs of the life-saving crab? Wait, where's the fire? I haven't started a fire yet. Spirit 1. Zhang Ming, whose mood was like a roller coaster, looked anxiously at the dead leaves and branches exposed to the sun. After all, he hasn't had a proper meal for 3 days. Every time he enjoys the food in stock, he feels guilty for eating up all the food. God knows when the rescue team will arrive. But now, a crab leg has completely changed his fate. It was obtained by hunting, which meets the requirements of sustainable development, and he can eat it with confidence. So before he could even start a fire, his mouth was watering. Let's boil the crab. For safety reasons, it must be cooked thoroughly. He rubbed his sweaty hands. I need a bigger pot. The only container he had was the inner pot of an electric rice cooker, which couldn't fit a crab leg. As for the suitcases, most of them were made of plastic and couldn't be put on the fire to cook. Zhang Ming returned to the wreckage of the plane and searched for a larger metal container. The plane's dining cart, made of stainless steel, with several metal drawers inside, was originally used to hold airline meals. In the previous accident, the dining cart was severely twisted and deformed, so Zhang Ming didn't like it. Knock it with a stone, it's just right to use as a big pot. After finding the container, the last step is to make a fire. Zhang Ming has a knife, scissors, a radio, medicine, and a hand-cranked flashlight, but no lighter, because this thing is contraband on the plane, and it can't be carried or checked. Therefore, he can only use the method of drilling wood to make fire. He took a deep breath. He had never had the experience of drilling wood to make fire, and he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Many things look simple, but in practice, experts see the doorway and laymen watch the excitement. If you haven't practiced it, you will never know how difficult it is. The steps of drilling wood to make fire were just reported on the radio last night. It is not complicated. First, you need to prepare a tinder nest that is easy to ignite. It is made of flammable materials such as sawdust and napkins. Then find a wooden stick and a piece of wood. Use a knife to dig a small hole in the wood board and fill it with sawdust. Then use a long wooden stick to rotate and rub it in the hole to produce charcoal. Finally, place the charcoal in the tinder nest, ignite a small flame, and you will get a real fire. The idea is simple, but in actual operation, I found myself like a mentally retarded person. For example, the drill rod should choose a slightly harder wood, and the drill plate should choose a slightly softer wood. Similar details can only be discovered by yourself after trying it yourself. Even if a small charcoal is barely produced, it is pitifully small and will be accidentally extinguished by a gust of wind. Zhang Ming was so tired of making fire that his hands were worn out, his spirit value plummeted, and even a lot of hair fell out. Spirit value 1. 1. It took an afternoon to start a flame. Looking at the bright sparks, he was moved to tears. It was not easy. He put the flame into the stone pit that had been prepared long ago, ignited more wood, and then it was time to steam the crab legs. As soon as he sat down, the fragrance of crab meat came to him, and he quickly took a drawer to cover it to prevent the fragrance from spreading too much and causing unnecessary risks. Is there anything more exciting than this moment? Zhang Ming sat quietly beside the fire, listening to the crackling sound of firewood. His heart was extremely peaceful. At this moment, there were no worries. He was carefree, looking at the sunset, smelling the waves, and felt a heartfelt sense of happiness. Inexplicably recalled the past. In the past, the happiest time in life seemed to be the time in high school when he was waiting for his first girlfriend. Zhang Ming was a good student with mediocre grades, but he was not the kind of student who followed the rules. In high school, there were several pairs of premature love in every class, which was inevitable. The thing he looked forward to most every day was to go to the playground and hold his girlfriend's hand and take a walk. At first, they just held hands, then kissed each other, and finally secretly kissed each other, holding hands to escape the fierce pursuit of the dean. This happy relationship only lasted for one semester. Then, it became less pleasant. Many things in the world are like this. If life is only as perfect as it was when we first met, it only exists in fantasy. I don't know why, but when I suddenly recalled that period of time in the past, Zhang Ran couldn't help but sigh. I wanted to say something naughty and praise life, but now I suddenly didn't know what to say. Those past times were like a series of lost pearls, as he moved away from human civilization, as if they would never come back. You thought it was an ordinary day. You thought it was the norm in life. But as time passed, you suddenly looked back and found that it was the best day in your life. And this day will disappear forever, only flashing in your memory. The wood here is made of special materials, full of oil, and the fire is particularly strong. In theory, it will be about the same if it cooks for half an hour. To be on the safe side, it was cooked for a full hour. During this time, Zhang Ming used the extra suitcases to set up a dozen dew collectors. Then, using 2 pieces of clothing as towels, he carefully lifted the hot metal drawer from the fire. The boiling water was covered with a layer of white foam, making a gurgling sound. And the crab legs were cooked into an orange color, emitting an attractive fragrance. His appetite was aroused, and he praised with anticipation, "Eat crab legs." Chapter 16 Mount Fuji volcano erupts. The mirage cannot play the night scene. The large-scale TV series has come to an end for the time being. But the vast majority of people in the shelter are all happy and quite satisfied with today's plot. The thick crab legs are enough for several meals. The brother trapped on the deserted island has a good life. The crabs in the mysterious area should be very chewy. I wonder how they taste compared to hairy crabs. In the Yunhei shelter, Wang Fumin took today's lunchbox and opened it with satisfaction. It was steaming hot. The big pot rice in the shelter didn't taste very good, but at least it was enough to fill you up. He cut half of the meat in the lunchbox into his daughter's small bowl. After a while, the child's mouth was full of oil, and she said incoherently, "Dad, I want to eat crabs too. I'll buy you some when Dad makes money. Your mom will be back tomorrow, and Dad has to go to volunteer. You and your mom should be good here." Wang Fumin used chopsticks to pick his dinner. His daughter used to be a bit picky about food, not wanting to eat this or that. But in just a few days, her taste changed. Staying in this ghost place, don't think too much about snacks. Everything tastes good when you are hungry. The little brother here has found food. Guess what happened in the mysterious area number 7? Guess. Lu Tuiyu, who was on the other side of the wall, came over stealthily. He took out a piece of tangerine peel candy with a smug look on his face and handed it to the child. "Thank you, Uncle," the child smiled happily. The story of the Mirage number 7 was too terrifying. Halfway through the broadcast, it was destroyed by an artificial rain plane. As long as the moisture in the air is changed, the mirage can be made to disappear. For the sake of social stability, the government does not want people to see anything too weird. "What happened?" Fatty Wang said. "It's almost gone." "Ah. Is it true?" Wang Fumin was amazed. "Is my life over?" "It's really almost gone." Special Affairs Processing Department. Li Xianfeng saw Zhang Ming find the crab legs, and he breathed a sigh of relief, but his nerves were tense. Almost all colleagues stayed in the office, staring at a large screen intently. In the silent air, only their heartbeats and heavy breathing could be heard. Mirage number 7, the situation inside is precarious. The Fuzhou people missed the opportunity, they are going to be killed by the monster, Li Xianfeng said hoarsely and somewhat heavily. They may want to wait for this thing to eat and leave, but they didn't expect that this thing would reproduce so quickly. There are also fish in the mysterious area, and the ocean-going fishing boats will not lack food for a while, but they lack energy. Therefore, when the blue jellyfish devoured the fish, the crew did not take any action. They chose a more reliable plan, hiding in the cabin and watching. They wanted to wait for the blue jellyfish to eat enough and leave on its own. But unexpectedly, this jellyfish is like a cell. After eating, it splits into two and multiplies rapidly. At the beginning, when it split into two, they hid in the cabin and watched. When it split into four, they tried to force the foreign workers to take the initiative. But this team, which was not very united, could not risk their lives to fight the monsters, but another wave of internal strife broke out. It is not possible to fight monsters, but it is still feasible to fight their own people. Later, when the blue jellyfish split into 8 and began to corrode the deck and invade the cabin, the crew finally couldn't stand it. To prevent sudden factors such as pirates, they are equipped with large water guns and explosives for bombing fish, so they have some means. But the real battle scene is one-sided. It's not that human weapons are useless, but that the mentality is broken. The tentacles of the jellyfish are highly toxic. As long as they are lightly touched, humans will be paralyzed on the spot. And their athletic ability is quite excellent, moving at a speed of about 9 meters per second. Facing the 8 jellyfish, about 5 people died, and 3 of them were killed by harpoons and explosives. According to this casualty ratio, 15 people would be enough to wipe out these monsters. But some of the crew members couldn't bear the fear and began to flee, which soon triggered a series of chain reactions, and more people began to flee. In the end, everyone fled. The opportunity was slowly lost, and when the jellyfish reproduced again, humans would have no chance. The Mirage, like a silent movie, cruelly revealed that the mysterious area number 7 was facing the end of total destruction. This is the deserter effect. If one person escapes, everyone will want to escape, but if everyone escapes and no one fights, the end is total destruction. So deserters on the battlefield are shot directly. Li Xianfeng watched with horror as the blue jellyfish were searching for humans and slowly multiplying after eating the corpses. Everyone gritted their teeth and looked at the big screen. Is there anything that can multiply so quickly? Bacteria, mushrooms, maybe. But this thing is obviously a large organism. If it invades the human world, can we resist it? We should be fine here, but the third world may be in trouble. This thought is even more frightening. What if this thing multiplies to hundreds of millions or billions? When the jellyfish reproduced rapidly to 20 again, the entire team was already helpless. The last survivor was the owner of the invisible ability. However, activating the invisible ability may have physical and mental limitations. He hid for more than 2 hours and finally exited the invisible state exhausted. He was found, paralyzed, and eaten by the blue jellyfish. Mysterious area number 7, the third day, all wiped out. Many of the mistakes were a bit ridiculous, but the fact had already happened. Before Li Xianfeng could recall the process of the team's annihilation again, the phone suddenly rang. Okay, I understand. Zhang Ming is in good condition, both physically and mentally healthy. Please rest assured. After answering the phone, Li Xianfeng's face was gloomy and his breathing almost stopped. An indescribable sense of heaviness surged into his heart, shaking his worldview. There were quite a few staff members in the room, but the air seemed so cold that it could freeze. No one spoke, no one discussed, and even the sound of typing on the keyboard disappeared. Just now, people got the news, just 1 minute ago. Mount Fuji volcano erupted. Fuzhou country suffered heavy casualties. The mysterious area number 7 was just wiped out, and Mount Fuji erupted immediately. What does this mean? Is it a coincidence, or a kind of inevitability? Do gods really exist in the world? Or is it a supernatural phenomenon that humans don't understand? What do the 16 mysterious area teams represent? Who will be the next to be wiped out? Chapter 17 Methods for Obtaining Attributes. The red crab legs were bright in color, more beautiful than the clouds on the horizon. Even without seasonings such as onions and garlic, the tempting fragrance still tempted Zhang Ming's index finger and made him salivate. He opened his mouth and took a bite. With a crack, he almost broke a tooth. Fortunately, I was prepared. Zhang Ming grinned, picked up a stone and an iron nail, and started to knock dong dong dong. The cooked crab legs had reduced toughness. After a few hard knocks, a gap was knocked out. He broke hard along the gap, and there was another crisp crack sound. A large piece of white and tender crab meat, emitting rich heat, was exposed in front of him. Crab meat as big as a fist. Zhang Ming, who was almost crazy with greed, retained his last bit of rationality and took a small bite. The plump and tender crab meat bloomed on the tip of his tongue, and every cell in his mouth was cheering for it. Zhang Ming seemed to hear his body cheering food food food. The taste is a bit like hairy crab, almost without fishy smell, and very chewy. Unlike hairy crab, this piece of meat is too big, so you don't need to peel the shell, you can eat it all in one go. How can there be such delicious food? Zhang Ming's eyes almost burst into light. But after just one bite, Zhang Ming forced himself to stop eating. Then he allocated the perception attribute to 60 points, perception 60-60. You are as sensitive as a cat, and you may explode at any time. He needs to observe for a while to determine whether this thing is poisonous or not. 60 points of perception are extremely sensitive to physical abnormalities. If something really happens, you can detect it in time. It's always good to be cautious. With the delicacies of mountains and seas in front of you, the time of suffering is really hard to bear. So, the fixed night broadcast came. The radio station sounded a familiar voice on time. Dear listeners and friends, good evening, I am announcer Li Xianfeng. Today I will bring you today's news. Most of them are old news. The disasters on the earth have not stopped, and there is a trend of getting worse. The world outside is in dire straits. One day is too short for the entire earth. The disaster has not stopped and international rescue has not yet taken action. The dangerous mysterious area is a huge challenge for humans. Staying cautious and reducing the scope of activities is the best way to survive, but for Zhang Ming, it has ushered in a turning point in his fate. He seems to be able to be self-sufficient here provided that the monsters in the center of the deserted island don't run out to eat people. What's wrong with the world? I don't know how my parents are, they shouldn't be affected, right? He really can't imagine the drastic changes in the whole world. The mountain of the times has pressed on everyone, whether it's Mount Tai or Feather, he has to survive before he can consider other things. While waiting, the perception ability of up to 60 felt the subtle changes in the body. A faint warm current came from the stomach, nourishing every blood vessel, and in a warm current, slowly gathered in the heart and brain. This mysterious heat flow is not like the stimulation brought by peppers and alcohol, but more like a subtle feeling produced when the attribute is transformed. It was as if every cell in the body was absorbing this strange energy tirelessly. Zhang Ming's heart suddenly moved. And he thought of a surprising possibility. Is this the source of attribute points? Crab meat can bring attribute points. The bigger the crab legs, the stronger the joy in his heart. After a few minutes, he found that he was in good condition, and finally couldn't bear it anymore, picked up the crab meat and ate it with relish. The thigh meat was short and slender, and tasted like scallops, while the calf meat was long and tender, as beautiful as whitebait, and every pore was full of satisfaction. One bite after another, he couldn't stop at all. The heat flow from the stomach also gradually increased, flowing warmly throughout the body. In order to celebrate today's great harvest, he even opened a bottle of Fat House Happy Water, ate crab meat and drank Kool in big mouthfuls, and listened to the news by the way. The satisfaction in his heart was about to overflow. Here is an important news report. Fishermen from the Yangtze River region caught a super large 10-kilogram latchin. Normally, this species of fish can only grow to 500 grams at most, but now, due to unknown factors, its weight has increased 20 times. After eating the latchin, the fisherman was hospitalized due to physical discomfort. He claimed that his blood vessels were burning like fire, his muscles were sore, and it seemed that magma was running in his heart. Food poisoning, burning like fire. Zhang Ming's active feasting came to an abrupt halt, and his face changed slightly. He felt very comfortable, and the heat flowing through his body made him sweat all over, but he felt very refreshed. The recorder continued. The expert group analyzed the residual substances of the large tuna and found some unknown biological enzymes and unidentified proteins, whose chemical energy is 5 times that of normal. As for the specific cause of the burning, it may be caused by some mysterious phenomenon. Some experts also believe that the change in the rules of the world has given rise to a small number of superpowers in the human population, and there should also be mutations in the animal population. This super large tuna is a rare mutation. In the animal population, The proportion of mutations is less than 1 in 10 million. The probability of insect mutation is less than 1 in 100 million. Even non-living things may mutate. Everyone in front of the radio, if you find mutant creatures, please eat them with caution to avoid signs of food poisoning. Is there only a 1 in 10 million chance? Zhang Ming frowned slightly. The large crabs on the mudflats were densely packed, tens of thousands, and all of them were mutants in terms of size. Under normal circumstances, how could there be such a large crab? The seagulls flying in the sky are more than 1 meter long. Even the coconut trees are ridiculously tall, 100 or 200 meters high. In other words, this island is special. Zhang Ming was somewhat doubtful, and suddenly felt that this deserted island might hide some big secret. But it is difficult for me to beat that monster that is dozens of meters tall and can tear apart an airplane. Just thinking this way, the heat flow in his body finally gathered to peak. A white light flashed in his mind. The attribute panel has changed. Physique. 26/26, perception. 60/60, spirit. 30/35, lifespan. 24/29, total attributes. 150, yes, after eating these few bites of crab meat, the physique increased by 1 point, and the total attribute became 150 points. Zhang Ming clearly remembered that it was still 149 points in the morning. He was in high spirits, and finally determined the source of the attribute points: eating. The crabs all over the mountains are his attribute cultivation base. Even in a short moment, Zhang Ming's imagination was open and he made a plan for the future. It is said that crabs can regenerate limbs after losing them. If there are 2,000 large crabs on the mudflats, I will only eat 1 crab leg every day and not kill them. On average, a crab only loses 1 crab leg in 2,000 days. It shouldn't be a fatal injury, right? In this way, it's just like eating leeks. After eating 1 crop, a new crop will grow. Isn't there a continuous sustainable source? Chapter 18. The end of cultivation is to become an excavator. That's not right. What if the National Rescue Team comes? Should I choose to go home? Will the crabs here be confiscated? If they come to rescue me, I will go home. Otherwise, I will keep eating crabs. Zhang Ming's mind was full of random thoughts, worried about gains and losses. Even his thoughts extended outward, spreading to the sky, such as protests from the Animal Protection Association, going to jail for eating endangered animals, 500 yuan for a pennant. The first superpower in human beings was dissected as a monster, and then he shuddered fiercely. Dear listeners, today's domestic and international news ends here. The radio changed the topic, and Li Xianfeng's tone became serious. The following is an important announcement. At 17 hours, 22 minutes, and 45 seconds Eastern Time, Mount Fuji in Fuzhou erupted, causing trillions of dollars in losses and tens of millions of casualties. Fuzhou suffered heavy damage in the eruption of Mount Fuji. Geological experts believe that the volcanic eruption of sulfurous poisonous gases may continue for decades, and the area will be unsuitable for human survival. The Prime Minister of Fuzhou burst into tears at the press conference and sought help from the outside world. Some scholars believe that the volcanic eruption may be related to the death of those trapped in the mysterious area. This statement is attributed to the theory of destiny, that is, the death of those trapped in the mysterious area may harm the country's destiny. Hearing this news, Zhang Ming swallowed in astonishment. Fuzhou, which had been living a good life, suddenly died. The death of the trapped people will harm the country's destiny? What about those charming ladies? No, they won't turn into pink skeletons, right? His favorite treasure girls, Ms. Shui, Ms. Ying, and what's that? Are these ladies still alive? We implore the survivors trapped in the mysterious area to carefully consider their situation before taking any action, not to do anything too dangerous, and maintain a positive attitude. Your fate is related to the 1.4 billion people behind you. Isn't this nonsense? Zhang Ming muttered to himself, feeling stressed. Who wants to die inexplicably? Even if I stay here and do nothing, the monster suddenly runs out, and the damned will still die. Is this something I can control? I can't. Broadcast. If you encounter some problems, you can use large green leaves to write words in an open place. We can see these words through certain special means and think of a solution for you. Zhang Ming sat on a stone, eating crab meat. The problem he is facing now is how to go home. If you take me home, the problem will be solved. When a person may not see the sun tomorrow, the only thing he thinks about is how to save his humble life. As for other things, they can only be moved back. Even if Ultraman and Bolton appear on the Earth, He will only say oh and continue to think about saving his life. After the radio finished broadcasting the important news, it switched to a new topic. The following is new knowledge about wilderness survival, about the development and utilization of coconuts. Coconuts are a common fruit in tropical areas. Zhang Ming listened to the radio with relish. This knowledge is quite useful. The juice in the green coconut can barely be drunk, and the risk is relatively small, while the juice in the old coconut is relatively turbid, and drinking it is easy to cause diarrhea. Although Zhang Ming has some antibiotics and other drugs on hand, he does not want to take risks and eat randomly. The old coconuts that have just fallen, the fresher ones, can be used to extract coconut oil. The whole process is not complicated. As long as the coconut meat is crushed and boiled in water, the coconut oil will separate and float on the water. Then skim the oil out, which is a relatively pure coconut oil. With oil, we can fry crabs. If you eat boiled crabs every day, you will get tired of them. What a pity, it lacks some seasoning. Coconut meat is rich in vitamin C and vitamin E, which can effectively supplement the nutritional deficiencies brought by crab meat and avoid diseases such as scurvy. Eating meat without vegetables alone will kill you. Dear listeners, when we are optimistic, the dawn will break. There is a long way to go. See you tomorrow. Good night, everyone. In a soothing music, the satellite in the sky left and the broadcast ended. Zhang Ming was left alone, staring at the moon hanging high in the sky. How many people like him are trapped in the mysterious area on the earth? 10, 100, or 1,000? 10,000? How are these people doing? Are they good or bad? Are they hungry and cold? Have they encountered monsters? There shouldn't be many people like him who are trapped alone on a deserted island, right? The existence of a team is much simpler than surviving alone. However, a disunited team is not necessarily a good thing. Just like this crab leg, one person can eat it for 2 days, but if 10 people eat it, everyone will be hungry, so full. Zhang Ming burped. The warm current flowing in his body once again gathered into a white light in his mind. His physique increased by 1 point again, and the total attribute became 151. A dinner increased his attribute value by 2 points, and he patted his stomach contentedly. That's it for today. It's impossible to eat a fat man in one go. The remaining half crab leg can be eaten for another day tomorrow, and it can increase the attribute by 2 points. The dark night, the distant waves, the rustling insects, and the lonely island. Zhang Ming put out the fire, got into the tent, and boredly studied his Goldfinger 151 total attributes. No matter how you distribute them, you can't play any tricks. Balanced attributes are the strongest. If 100 points of physique and 10 points of perception are allocated, there will be a risk of uncoordinated hands and feet and unobedient muscles. But even if I increase my physique to 1,000 points, I still can't beat an excavator. A heavy excavator can directly shovel 50 tons of coal. When will I be able to punch out 50 tons of force? When he found out that he might not be able to beat an excavator after practicing for a lifetime, he was a little confused. It turns out that the end of practice is to become an excavator. It shouldn't be suddenly. Zhang Ming's heart moved, and he found that there was a mysterious mark on the attribute panel, like an icon of a crab claw, vivid and with a hint of agile mystery. What is this? Did this thing exist before? Zhang Ming was suspicious. It seems not. He quickly closed his eyes and felt it carefully. A mysterious meaning surged into his heart. Superpower, power burst, not activated. 10 points of attribute activation are required. Effect, instant burst of 50% minus 5,000% of power. This simple explanation made Zhang Ming stand there in a daze, sweating profusely. What the hell is this? Chapter 19 Mysterious Drift Bottle. In the continuous natural and man-made disasters, the earth is in a mess. Some people are surprised, some are sad, and some are busy and exhausted. The impact of the eruption of Mount Fuji is really too great. However, the number of international rescues is not large. Politicians from various countries have chosen to express their condolences verbally, hoping that Fuso can get out of the disaster as soon as possible, restore order, and create new glory. There is no real action at all, because earthquakes continue in various places, logistics are almost interrupted, and governments of various countries are unable to take care of themselves. Anyone who dares to donate to foreign friends will definitely be scolded by the people, and there may even be a few mentally ill people rushing to buy. Some countries even believe that the huge amount of toxic gases brought by the eruption of Mount Fuji continues to pollute the surrounding atmosphere. The continuous spread of toxic dust will affect the lives of the surrounding areas and reduce food production. It is already very good not to let Fuzhou lose money. Daksha country. Special Affairs Processing Departments. A large group of researchers are gathering in a small room to discuss the latest intelligence. Working continuously for such a long time, but without any complaints, for real scientific researchers, the emergence of supernatural phenomena is tantamount to the creation of the world. An old professor with gray hair, while eating supper, read a supernatural investigation report with relish. Theoretically, there are about 1,000 superpowers in our country, but only 600 have been found. Most of them have physical abilities, including but not limited to huge strength, physical regeneration, clairvoyance, and super hearing, similar to the abilities of invisibility, fire breathing, electric discharge, and physical suspension in the mysterious area. None of them exist. Do you mean that the abilities born in the mysterious area are stronger? Li Xianfang frowned, eating fried noodles at the table. It is possible, but not inevitable, the expert explained. We investigated the first batch of people with superpowers and found that a common feature of them is that their vision, smell, and taste are far superior to those of ordinary people. They had this feature before they awakened their superpowers. Most of them claim that it is because of some strange heat flow in their bodies that they awakened their abilities. However, current medical equipment cannot detect the so-called strange heat flow. It sounds like a scam like Kigan. Li Xianfeng laughed. This world, the expert continued, we call this element spirit for short. These things are actually very complicated, and the mechanism of action is a mystery. We can even be more bold and believe that everything has a spirit. Most people actually have their own innate abilities, but they are in two states, activated and unactivated. If you can sense it, you can activate the ability. If you can't sense it, then you can't activate it. Physical abilities such as giant strength, physical regeneration, and clairvoyance are relatively simple and easier to activate, but superpowers such as invisibility, fire breathing, and levitation are very complicated, so they are not easy to activate. If there is really a higher concentration of the mysterious element spirit in the mysterious area, the higher the concentration, the greater the probability of activating complex abilities, vice versa. Li Xianfang thought for a moment. These statements, which he didn't know whether they were true or not, could only be tested by time and experiments. He asked again, Zhang Ming, who is trapped in Area 16, his ability is only physical ability. The old professor replied, it's hard to say. He is indeed stronger than ordinary people, but compared with a real giant power, he seems to be a little weaker. A weightlifter with giant power ability can already lift a 400-kilogram barbell, which is about 8 times that of ordinary people, far exceeding the world record. In contrast, Zhang Ming's fighting process does not seem to be so strong. Can superpowers be trained? Li Xianfang asked again, is there an upper limit? I don't know yet. But there should be an upper limit. It's impossible to punch through the earth with one punch, right? For now, everyone is not very good, and it basically won't affect social order. Li Xianfang asked again, do multi-powered people exist? Multi-powered people, as the name suggests, are people with multiple superpowers. I don't know, even if multi-powered people exist, they can only be activated in the mysterious area at present. In the short term, I don't think multi-powered people can appear on Earth. The expert stroked his glasses and said, in the future, as the rules of the mysterious area continue to spread, the number of superpowered people on Earth will increase significantly. I can even predict that non-living things may have supernatural characteristics. I will name these non-living things as strange things. Yunhei Shelter. Wang Fumin, who had just finished using the toilet, found Lu Tuiyu happily and said with a sneaky look on his face, Xiao Lu, I picked up a very strange thing. It looks strange. It's not a monster, but a very strange thing. Lu Tuiyu was immersed in the shocking news of the eruption of Mount Fuji. This news was so exaggerated and bizarre. It was related to the annihilation of the mysterious Area Number 7, and the entire world's network exploded. All kinds of monsters, gods and snakes, and the quarrels between the virgin and the evil were simply numbing. He tapped the screen of his mobile phone and made a long talk on the internet, saying without looking back, what treasure can be picked up in the toilet? Can it be eaten? Is it delicious? A bottle. Wang Fumin took out a brown glass bottle from his pocket. Lu Tuiyu took the glass bottle and saw that it was a glass bottle containing Huaxiangzhanqi water, and there were still a few drops of residual liquid in it. This bottle is not much, you don't understand, Wang Fumin explained. The first moment I picked it up, a strange voice came into my heart. This thing is called mysterious drifting bottle, its owner is me. Throw it into the sea, and the drifting bottle will be found by any designated creature, only the designated person, and you can pick it up? Is it true? Lu Tuiyu studied it for a long time, but he couldn't figure it out. In his eyes, it was just an ordinary glass bottle. Lu Tuiyu touched his chin, pondered for a while, but didn't figure out anything, so he handed the bottle back. Mount Fuji has erupted directly, so it's not impossible to imagine objects with supernatural properties. Do you want to hand it over to the country? Wang Fumin asked. If you want a silk banner and 500 yuan, just hand it over. Lu Tuiyu pursed his lips. My suggestion is that you keep it as a treasure, Wang Fumin said. How about we send the drifting bottle to the guy in the mysterious area number 16? Write a letter to him. It's a hot topic on the internet. The eruption of Mount Fuji is closely related to the destruction of the mysterious area number 7. Let him pay attention and don't let him die. Chapter 28. Big Turtle caused a commotion. Wang Fumin was reluctant at first. The bottle he picked up might be very rare and worth a lot of money. But in a blink of an eye, he thought that the so-called mysterious drifting bottle had already recognized its owner. In the eyes of others, it was just an ordinary bottle. What was the point of keeping this bottle? If I can really find the guy in the mirage. Wang Fumin suddenly wanted to be a funny person and said excitedly, what should I write in the letter? This drifting bottle can only be guaranteed to be delivered. It may take a very long time, maybe several months or years. Information is time sensitive. What should I write? Lu Tuiyu touched his chin and showed a smile on his face. You can write anything. Ask him how he eats and how he sleeps. I think, in addition to the letter, I have to send a few photos to solve his physiological problems. As the saying goes, after a good meal, you think about sex. I'm afraid he will suddenly go crazy and jump into the sea to commit suicide, which will affect us. Wang Fumin made an expression of sudden enlightenment. I see, now Teacher Kang is still the most popular. Why is it Teacher Kang? She has retired and has children. Can you please be more polite? Lu Tuiyu was a little speechless. Now Teacher Shui and Teacher Ying are popular. I don't know what happened to those girls. Alice, occasionally look at me. I have a wife and daughter. How can I compare with you bachelors? Wang Fumin cleared his throat and pretended to be serious. But will this matter have a bad impact? What if he does it in front of the people of the world? My daughter stares at the sky every day. She is only in kindergarten. We can't let her see these things. Lu Tuiyu chuckled and said, nonsense, can't you make it clearer in the letter? Let him hide in the tent, don't fight on the beach. That night, the two of them were arm in arm, and they drank a little wine, in high spirits. In the disaster, there was no mortgage, and no need to raise children, so the money they earned was spent immediately, and they had crazy literary battles with foreigners. These days were inexplicably comfortable. He threw the bottle filled with messages into a nearby river. It's good to be young. After so many years, my enlightenment teacher has retired and the new one is also very good, but it's a pity that there is no successor. Printing a photo is so expensive, 600 yuan for a poster, it's fucking outrageous. Of course it's expensive to do pornography. Look at the boss's eyes, he said he was risking a crime to print for us. There's still some space. Put some medicine in, and some amoxicillin and cephalexin, there's no more room. The bottle will sink if you stuff more. As the waves rolled, the drifting bottle burst into a burst of light, and suddenly disappeared without a trace, heading towards the unknown distance, the mysterious area number 16. Power burst. A brand new superpower, you can get it with just 10 attribute points, fair and honest, 50% minus 5000% increase in strength, depending on personal qualifications. As for why this icon appears, Zhang Ming was shaking with excitement, his face flushed, so that's how it is. I eat their meat, not only can I get attribute points, but also get their superpowers. My old Zhang is so powerful. Zhang Ming felt the impermanence of life in his heart. Yesterday, he wanted to become a tiny dung beetle because of hunger and cold. Today, he is full of energy and has evolved into the fighting Buddha again. All these are changes brought about by the crab legs. In fact, he is nothing, he is a Schrodinger's cat. He is awesome when the wind is in his favor, but stupid when the wind is against him. The so-called fate is unpredictable. Who knows what will happen tomorrow, causing him to degenerate into a dung beetle again, or there may be a major turning point in the future, making him evolve into a teddy bear. But then again, now that he is full, He does miss the singing and dancing in the pink app. It's human nature to miss sex after having a good meal. It's human nature, cough cough. So while today is the fighting Buddha, I really should curse that damn god. The world of alpaca, fuck the universe. Spirit value +1 without thinking for long, Zhang Ming chose to activate Power Burst. The cost of 10 attribute points, even if it is only the minimum 50% increase in strength, is not a loss. After a series of operations, the total attribute became 141 points. Zhang Ming took a deep breath and closed his eyes. A mysterious epiphany appeared in his mind. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a huge crab that was arrogant and proud. The majestic claws were his magic weapon against the enemy. In order to defeat the natural enemy, the crab tirelessly trained its unicorn arm, trying to pinch off everything in the world. Pinch off. Release. Pinch off again. In this opening and closing, loosening and tightening, breathing and breathing, Zhang Ming felt a mysterious and complex thermal circuit that was slowly generated in his body. From the process to the answer, every detail, every change seems so simple, full of a kind of beauty from nature. The only flaw is that this answer is too skinny and difficult to describe with a poor human language. At least Zhang Ming at present, he couldn't describe the principle of the ability of Power Burst. After coming to his senses, he found that he had this ability. It was as if he had an extra instinct. Just like normal people can bounce, run, grab things with 5 fingers, blink, and breathe, these don't require too much learning. When the Power Burst is activated, a mysterious heat flow will be generated in the body, which will strengthen the muscles in a series of ways. As for what this heat flow is, Zhang Ming studied it for a long time and finally chose to give up treatment. After punching a few times with force, after using the Power Burst, he really felt that his strength had been enhanced. The master leads the way, and the practice is up to the individual. Grabbing things is a human instinct, but humans have evolved various crafts with flexible fingers, writing, carving, carpentry, blacksmithing, etc. In the same way, the Power Burst ability can be used for controllable muscles in various parts of the body, arms, wrists, fingers, calves, thighs, and even eyelids, with a very high potential for development. He jumped high a few times, the increase was about 50%, and the physical energy consumed was quite large. He jumped 5 times in a row, and there were signs of muscle soreness. Sure enough, there is only a guaranteed return of 50%. But if used well, it can completely make up for the loss of 10 attributes, and as for attributes, wouldn't they be restored by eating more crab meat? Not a loss. After finishing the last sip of Coke, Zhang Ming contentedly put out the campfire and covered the red-hot charcoal with a thick layer of ash. He also covered it with a piece of iron sheet to prevent the fire from being extinguished by the night's humidity. He went back to the tent, raised the perception attribute to 60 points, and went to sleep directly. He fell asleep almost in seconds. It was the most comfortable night since he came here. Zhang Ming had a dream in a daze. He dreamed that the crabs on the mudflats had become his own fixed chive garden. Every day he would go to the yard and harvest a crab leg. Over time, he became stronger and stronger. His knotted muscles and bones opened and closed with his breathing, hiding terrible power, and his body grew to 10 meters, 4 times the height of Yao Ming. With a light grasp downwards, he easily grasped a crab. Facing such a powerful enemy, the crab's living habits have undergone subtle changes. They have serious internal strife, and whenever Zhang Ming steps into their territory, a crab trader will take the initiative to jump out and remove a leg of another crab. Because as long as they remove the leg of their companion, their legs can be preserved. Of course, some crab warriors have united and want to launch surprise attacks again and again, but they are informed by the crab traders, their identities are exposed, and they lose their legs. Thus, a touching tragedy in the world is performed. The gurgling sound of boiling water, the infighting between the crab traders and the warriors, and Zhang Ming's extremely evil laughter, all seemed surreal in the dream that in the end, a crab warrior finally stood up and viciously clamped off Lao Zhang's treasure. Zhang Ming woke up from his sleep with a look of horror on his face. He touched his lower body and found that the tool for continuing his family line was still there. He breathed a sigh of relief. He touched the crab legs on the suitcase and couldn't help but take a bite. It smells so good. However, at this moment, his expression moved and he heard a strange sound rustling dozens of meters away. He grabbed the metal water pipe beside him at a very fast speed. There is something near his tent. The sound of click, click came from not far away. Could it be that the crabs have come to the door? Zhang Ming swallowed his saliva. He opened the zipper and took a sneak peek outside. His heart skipped a beat. What a huge turtle. A big sea turtle. The eyes of the whole world were once again focused on Mirage number 16. The eruption of Mount Fuji last night brought huge casualties to Fuzhou and also gave imaginative netizens endless associations. The survival of humans in the mysterious area is actually related to the fate of the land. This is the destiny of the country. Even if Fuzhou has not been destroyed, it has been greatly weakened, and the population must be transferred as soon as possible. Is God choosing the last race to survive the apocalypse? This conjecture is really too terrible, because the outside world cannot affect the humans in the mysterious area at all. Even if these people are in danger, they can only watch them die. What's even more annoying is that some teams are still fighting among themselves, arguing over a little personal gain, and quarreling until their faces are red and their necks are thick. So a group of irritable netizens began to do crazy human flesh searches, preparing to find the families of these infighting people and kill them directly. With a gun in hand, the irritable brother outside the wall will really kill people violently. So this wave of heated discussion directly overwhelmed the global disaster. In the latest news, all the families of the trapped people have been urgently protected by the government. The Senate Legal Committee has enacted an emergency law. Human flesh searches will violate the criminal law. Some keywords have been urgently blocked. Give me back my freedom of speech. This is a small account. My account has been blocked by the government. I announce my permanent withdrawal from Bluebird. The crazy war of words soon escalated to the point of street parades, but this wave did not affect the Great Xia Kingdom. After all, there was only one person in District 16, and there was no way to start an internal conflict. There were 16 Mirages, and now there are only 15 left. The original Mirage number 7 has never appeared again after all the people died, but it can still be explained as a coincidence, because Mount Fuji was about to erupt, and it could have happened a day earlier or later. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Look! The one in the mysterious district number 16 is in big trouble. Netizens around the world subconsciously tense their nerves for these strange creatures. Well, he's about to be eaten by the turtle. Fortunately, I've already moistened it out. Even if a disaster breaks out in the east, it won't affect me. The next wave of disasters will happen in the Great Xia Kingdom. Will it be an earthquake or a volcano? If it really happens, I'll send everyone a wave of red envelopes. Some groups began to revel in the misfortune of others, and the frogs croaked. Brother New, V-me 50, prove your strength. Brother New, V-me 50, prove your strength. The army of opponents arrived immediately and fought fiercely with the yin-yang people on the internet. What does Professor Peter Greer think? After a long time, Peter Greer, an expert in parapsychology, came late and posted a new tweet. Sorry, we have studied the accidents in these days for a long time, and there is no good conclusion for the time being. From a scientific point of view, the eruption of Mount Fuji is not reliable as a single example, and it can be considered a coincidence, but if a team in a mysterious area is wiped out again, and a disaster occurs in its home country at the same time, this is not a coincidence, and the national destiny theory is also proven. Everyone, you should know that these mirages are revelations brought to us by God. We can boldly believe that when all the humans in the 16 mirages die, it will be the moment when the global doomsday disaster arrives. The death of any team is not a good thing. The end of the world is not worth looking forward to, but no matter how hard Peter Greer persuaded, the atmosphere of Doomsday Carnival was still spreading, and all kinds of explosive theories continued. We have to admit that human groups are like this. Human groups are not rational. The mental state of the group is impulsive, changeable, and irritable. The actions of the group are narrow, authoritarian, and conservative. If we use a precise term to describe it, it would be a mob. Unlike the yin and yang in foreign countries, the people of the whole country are staring at the sky with great pressure. Those who have the ability to climb over the wall are passionately online, but they are also paying attention to the movements of the mysterious area number 16. What if the survivors in the mysterious area are really related to the destiny in the dark? Special Affairs Processing Department. Li Xianfeng stared at the scene in the sky, his face flushed, and he almost yelled, even if you have superpowers, even if you defeat the crabs, don't provoke the big turtle, don't. P.S. 2 in 1 chapter, isn't the long chapter cute? Chapter 21 I want to be good friends with you. 16. The edge of the island. The big turtle's paws are like paddles, the whole body is brown, the neck is dotted with spots, and the black eyes are huge and bright. From the appearance, This big turtle has an indescribable honest and simple temperament. This world is really crazy. Crabs as big as water tanks, turtles as big as trucks. Zhang Ming hid in the tent and looked at the other party quietly. The turtle bit the crab shell on the ground and the crunch chewing sound came from its mouth. The turtle's face actually showed an extremely enjoyable and fanatical expression. Even if there was no meat in the crab shell, it couldn't stop eating, and even the grass on the ground was gnawed off. Looking at its happy appearance, even Zhang Ming himself couldn't help but secrete saliva. But what is this? Is this turtle eating kitchen waste? I know crabs are delicious, but they are just shells, without meat. Wake up, turtle. Hurry up and leave. Leave quickly after you finish eating. Zhang Ming clenched the metal pipe, his palms sweating slightly. He didn't dare to provoke a turtle as big as a truck. He could only pray that it would leave quickly. Turtles are not creatures that eat people. The next moment, the giant turtle felt Zhang Ming's obscure gaze and turned its huge head. Two black eyes looked in the direction of the tent. It had just eaten so happily that it had somewhat ignored the surrounding environment. The air was stagnant. The strange silence was brewing more and more, like the terrifying silence before the storm. Zhang Ming was so nervous that he hid in the tent and kept adjusting his attributes. Physique kept rising. He glanced at the remaining crab legs. If the turtle rushes over, I will throw the remaining crab legs out to attract its attention, and then run away quickly. Every second before the storm was so long. Zhang Ming's forehead was sweating more and more, and he was thinking about one battle plan after another. The next moment, something incredible happened. The giant turtle took a few steps back, becoming more and more confused. Suddenly, its eyes widened and it made an extremely panicked and terrified expression. As for why Zhang Ming thought this expression was terrified, because the turtle was too human, he seriously suspected that this guy had evolved subtle wisdom. The huge turtle slowly retracted its head. Is it afraid? What's wrong with it? Just a second after Zhang Ming was shocked, the turtle moved. It retracted its head, moved its two hind legs, and turned its shell little by little, like turning a not very flexible gyroscope. After turning its head towards the beach, it spread its feet and began to run for its life, with its four paddle-like thighs opening left and right, running towards the ocean. Boom boom, the scene was so strange that Zhang Ming's eyeballs almost popped out and he almost bit his tongue. It ran away. It actually ran away. Doesn't it need to look at the road? Isn't it afraid of hitting a big tree? How elegant. The turtle rushed all the way, leaving a heavy mark in the bushes. Even the coconut protection array that Zhang Ming deliberately arranged was knocked away. Who said that turtles can't outrun rabbits? After 2 seconds, Zhang Ming reacted, jumped out of the tent, and shouted behind the turtle's butt, "Hey, can you give me some turtle meat? What kind of ability do you have? Give me some, even if it's just a bite of meat. Zhang Ming wants to be friends with you. Please, don't run away so fast." After 10 minutes, Zhang Ming didn't have the attribute points to chase the escaped. It's one thing for the other party to run away, and it's another thing to catch up and beat them. Don't underestimate the ability of these mutant creatures to counterattack before death. But this incident also reminded Zhang Ming that food with smell must be properly stored, and even the food residue must be cleaned up in time, and the farther the better. It's best to throw it into the ocean. This time it was a timid and greedy turtle, and next time it might be a monster. He went back and ate a few bites of crab meat. It smells so good, a beautiful day has begun again. He allocated some attribute points: physique 47/47, perception 33/33, spirit 27/32, lifespan 24/29, total attributes 141, ability, power burst, activated. The environment he was in was not very friendly, but he was full of expectations for his future life. It can't be said to be expectations, just simply to save his life. Zhang Ming thought seriously about what he should do today. Should he continue to hunt crabs, or take bird eggs, or look for other mutant life? Or explore the ultimate mystery of the central area of the island? In theory, as long as these mutant lives have superpowers, they can be transferred to themselves through eating. As long as you have 100 or 1,000 superpowers, you can still fly, receive nuclear bombs with your body, and explode stars with one punch. My late stage ability is good. As long as I get up in the late stage, I can beat any monster. Then, he resolutely chose to continue hunting crabs. Serious face. Because the essence of human beings is a repeater. At level 1, they beat small crabs. At level 10, they beat big crabs. At level 100, they beat super crabs. At level 1000, they beat immortal crabs. At level 10,000, they beat invincible crabs. As a human being, he cannot escape the law of repeaters. He must beat crabs. Ahem, seriously, it is important for people to know themselves. Zhang Ming's current fighting skills are so bad that they are unbearable to watch. In the past, he was a programmer and had never killed a chicken. The most fierce fight he had ever had was when he kicked someone's balls in kindergarten. The poor kid wailed for half an hour in a hypocritical manner, and then the teacher punished him by making him stand in the corner for a long time, and finally he had to nod and apologize. From then on, he learned a truth: he should not hurt others. If he was beaten, he would lie on the ground and cry loudly, and even if it was not serious, he would pretend to be serious. Now, even with the blessing of the attribute panel, he may be stronger than Bear Grylls, but it is impossible for Lao Zhang to strangle a crocodile with his bare hands. So he was satisfied to bully the defeated and seize some crab legs. So it's decided happily, he clapped his hands suddenly. A craftsman must first sharpen his tools to do his job well. He spent half an hour to perfect his combat tools, cut a blue dress into long strips and braided them into ropes. Use the rope to tie the pointed part of the crab leg to the metal pipe firmly, which formed a sturdy spear. Women will only affect the speed of my sword drawing, so destroy all these clothes first. In fact, he thinks women's clothes are useless. Once a person runs on the beach in women's clothes, it means that he is crazy. Spirit +1. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22: Coconut Trap. After waving it excitedly for a few times, the freshly made spear was quite easy to use and quite sharp. If used to attack a human body, a stab would make a bloody hole. Then, Zhang Ming sat on a stone and began to think about a safer way of fighting. Acting recklessly like yesterday is not safe and efficient, which is really not a good idea. After simulating a battle in his head, he always felt that various methods such as stabbing the eyes and pouring boiling water were too outrageous. What if it fails? The crab lost a leg, I lost a life. Gray fragments of memory quickly turned over in his mind, and Zhang Ming tried to recall the survival themes of Bear Grylls, Deji, and the Australian guy. When watching the video, I just thought that this group of people was very interesting and hungry. Who could have imagined that I would use this knowledge one day? Gradually, an important keyword appeared in my mind: trap. Face-to-face melee, the tolerance rate is too low. In the wilderness where no one cares, injury means death. But I can make a trap. I can adjust the properties to increase my strength like crazy. I just need to push a few big coconuts onto the boulder, wait for the crabs to chase me, and then push the big coconuts down fiercely. Use the weight of hundreds of kilograms of coconuts to crush them. This plan has a high tolerance rate and does not require close combat. It is indeed a genius plan that only I can think of. After thinking through the whole plan, Zhang Ming took a few deep breaths, took his spear, and set off heroically. An hour later, the coconut trap is ready. To be on the safe side, he specially moved 3 big coconuts onto the boulder, each of which weighed 300 or 400 kilograms. Zhang Ming rested for half an hour, recovered some physical strength, and carefully touched the crab chive garden. Large groups of crabs were happily spitting bubbles and digging mud on the mudflats, and a beep 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 sound could be heard from a distance. "Your master is here," Zhang Ming wanted to shout out in front of the crabs. But he didn't dare. He could only lie in the bushes and grow in a sluggish manner. Earthworld. The big turtle in the Mirage number 16 actually escaped. This scene of escape without danger made many domestic followers feel relieved. Then, the young man trapped on the island chose the most familiar route, hunting crabs. Although the crabs are as big as monsters, they are familiar with them. As long as the traps are prepared, it should not be difficult to hunt them. I hope he can succeed in hunting. Don't make me worry anymore. My heart almost jumped out of my chest just now. My mother said that she would go to the temple to chant for him and ask the Buddha to bless him with peace. It's really speechless. It's good to have a little psychological comfort. If your heart can't stand it, don't stare at the sky. Compared with the ease in China, the comments abroad are mostly disappointed and lost. People just want to see rivers of blood, especially when public opinion outside the wall has not been very friendly. There are more people holding this mentality. Pay attention to other mirages. The one on the 16th should not die for a while. I didn't expect that turtle to be so cowardly. It's useless to grow so big. What a pity. The one who sent red envelopes whenever a natural disaster broke out in Daksha country is gone. It seems that he was reported a lot and his account was directly banned. However, the little black fans have invented a new angle low-level superpowers. Have you noticed that he is very strong? Although I don't know how heavy those coconuts are, they are not hollow foam, maybe hundreds of kilograms. I think he may have some kind of superpower in terms of strength. Physical ability is a relatively low-level ability. There are also superpowers on the Earth, accounting for about 1/1,000,000th of the total population, that is, 1,000 people out of 1 billion people, which is not a small number in the world. Among these thousands of people, basically all of them have physical abilities, which are specifically manifested as strange strength, sprinting, super perception, limb regeneration, super immunity, etc. Compared with the abilities of floating, invisibility, and fire control that appeared in the mysterious area, the physical abilities do seem to be a bit low level. The army on the line arrived late but arrived. That Fuso man who looked very advanced and could be invisible has died in the mysterious area number 7. What's the use of having advanced abilities? Superpowers are only secondary. A smart mind, calm decision-making and the talent to starve are more important. I think number 16 is a coward. He doesn't dare to leave his familiar environment at all. He is just a coward. You can also criticize this? Do you think this is a large-scale reality show? I'm going to fucking, you go ahead. Whether the superpowers are advanced or not has become an important topic on the line. Some people think that this proves God's preference, and a small number of people think that as long as the ability is useful, it's fine. Does it matter whether it is advanced or not? The so-called advanced is just the netizens' self-entertainment, and there is no standard for judgment at all. In this time of great urging, Professor Peter Greer, who has received the attention of millions of people, published a new tweet. Friends, physical abilities are relatively widely distributed, but it is unscientific to distinguish the pros and cons of superpowers by number. The number of humans is far greater than that of tigers. Are humans inferior to tigers? To judge the pros and cons of abilities, we must look at how much survival value it brings. The gentleman in the mysterious area number 16 chose a familiar way of survival within his ability, which is a suitable choice, even if he eats crabs every day and waits for rescue from the outside world. I will not find it strange, but will admire his wit. Recognizing one's own abilities and enduring loneliness is an excellent quality. In addition, I hope everyone will pay more attention to reality. With the eruption of Mount Fuji, the living environment of Fuso is worrying, and hundreds of millions of refugees need to be rescued. Pay attention to reality and pay attention to your feet. When it comes to this topic, there are even more trolls, too many to count. Because everyone's current life is not easy, going online is just to have some fun and vent their inner depression. Even this famous professor himself was criticized, and many people asked him to donate more money and stop being a moral policeman here. There is a chemical plant leaking nearby. Why hasn't the government dealt with it yet? Where is the rescue team? Do you want to poison us all? The railway is paralyzed, and I'm still on the train. Fuck. It's been 2 days and 2 nights, and our food on this train has run out. You all go to rescue the Fuso people. Who will rescue me? Tit for tat is everywhere, and life outside the wall is so plain and unpretentious. Chapter 23, 1 million mouthful of crab meat. 16 was quiet. Zhang Ming lay in the grass, waiting patiently. He pretended to be an experienced old hunter who was undergoing a lot of intracranial training, but his complex psychological activities betrayed his thoughts. A crab is alone, good opportunity. Watch me seduce it. Spirit value +1/+1. A small shell exuding a sweet scent was thrown out. However, the stupid crab did not notice it, just stood there, chewing the water grass with relish. After waiting anxiously for 5 minutes, Zhang Ming felt a chill in his heart. The crab actually ran back. Spirit value 1, 1, 1, 1. It's back again. Spirit value +1. It ran back again. Spirit value 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Zhang Ming always felt that the crab was deliberately playing with him. The process of the spirit value jumping was like a roller coaster, ups and downs, making him restless. Don't fucking look at the attribute panel. As long as I don't look at it, I'll just pretend that this attribute doesn't exist at all. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he picked up the small shell again and threw it out. A medium-sized crab heard the sound of the shell falling into the water, moved its body, and its two black eyes turned around. It beeped and spit bubbles, pretending to be calm and not notice anything. While its companions were not paying attention, it quietly stretched out its claws to pinch off the shell. There was a light click sound. The crab's two black eyeballs moved around, and it looked very happy, and hurriedly stuffed the shell meat into its mouth. Zhang Ming was overjoyed. "You like to eat alone, right? I like the way you eat alone." It saw another small shell jumping out of the bushes. It stretched out its claws again and wanted to pinch off the shell. But at the critical moment, the shell actually jumped back a small step. The crab wanted to pinch it again, and the shell moved another step. So just like that, the crab walked farther and farther and got into the bushes. Then, its black eyes widened. It was such a big piece of fat, exuding an irresistible and tempting aroma. Incomparable. Delicious. It beeped louder and louder, and stretched out its claws enthusiastically, trying to grab the fat. Under the clear blue sky, on the golden beach. One person and one crab, one in front and one behind, moving at high speed, raising a lot of dust along the way. The person is an ordinary person. The crab is a monster crab. As for the onlookers on the earth, they have different emotions, all kinds of varieties. Some are worried, and some are secretly gloating. Ah! He's going to be caught. This guy is about to be caught by a crab, and then he will face the most tragic moment of his life. I have initiated a referendum. Do you think this gentleman from District 16 will die in this hunt? Yes, no. A lot of people really rushed over to vote, as if the so-called democratic vote could really decide anything. Hello, friends. I am Simonson, a hunting expert and wilderness survival master. I have hunted elephants, rhinos, lions, hyenas and other prey on the East African savanna. Today I will bring you a live broadcast of Mirage. The most important question is, will the guy from District 16 be caught? This anchor named Simonson has become a pig in the traffic wind. With the help of the internet, the number of viewers exceeded 100,000 in just a few minutes, and there is a trend of continuous surge. He said with a ruddy face, "I don't think so. You see, crabs crawl sideways. When they launch a sudden attack from high-speed crawling, they must adjust their direction so that their huge claws can clamp things. This time difference is enough for the buddy in District 16 to escape. I even think that he is quite at ease. He is using his body to lure the crab into his preset trap." Someone asked in the barrage, "Simonson, what is his mortality rate? When do you think he will die?" Democratic votes believe that he will be killed by crabs? Simonson sneered, "Brother, the world is material. Democratic votes are useless. No matter what deep hatred you have with him, cursing is meaningless. He dares to hunt crabs, which means he has confidence." Zhang Ming was indeed twitching the crab's appetite, deliberately keeping a certain distance, neither running too far nor daring to get too close. But it can't be said that he is at ease. Power burst, up to 5,000% power increase. If you get caught by the pincers, everything will be over. Running quickly to the edge of the boulder, Zhang Ming shouted hey, and his leg muscles suddenly exerted force, jumping up high. This time he jumped more than 4 meters high and jumped onto the boulder. Come on, Zhang Ming kept waving his hands to provoke, and even hit with his spear eagerly, but his expression was highly nervous. He was not sure whether other crabs would follow. Once besieged by the enemy army, it would be like the gate of Hades opening to him. We must fight quickly. The crab walking sideways seemed to be stunned when he saw the fat meat shouting loudly on the stone. It might not understand why the other party was so confident when he was so ordinary. The sound in his mouth stopped for a second. But without thinking too much, the crab just thought that the other party was just food that would resist a little, and shouted beep again, climbing quickly along the stone. When the crab climbed halfway, it saw a huge coconut falling from the sky. Suddenly, it was stunned. It tried to use its pliers to break the coconut in a panic, but the weight of the coconut had already pressed down on it. With more than 300 kilograms of weight pressing down on it, the crab, which had climbed halfway, could not hold on. It screamed beep and rolled to the ground with the coconut. The plan succeeded. Zhang Ming was highly focused, and he didn't know what the other party was like. He immediately pushed the second coconut down and smashed it hard. 300 kilograms of weight, free fall. Another loud bang was heard. This time, the huge coconut hit the bullseye, and the sound of the hard shell collapsing seemed particularly dull. Suddenly, a sharp cry came from below. Beep! Exclamation mark. This sound seemed so different, sharp and slender, like the whistle of a whistle, one after another, making Zhang Ming's body covered with goosebumps. What's going on? It's calling for its companions? It must be calling for its companions. I only want one of your legs, and you actually want my life. Zhang Ming's forehead was sweating, and his heart was beating wildly. Hearing the crab's cry getting louder and louder, his eyes flashed with ferocity. He jumped down from the stone, lifted up a huge coconut and smashed it on its open belly. Power burst. The blood vessels on his arms bulged one by one, and a powerful force burst out. The big coconut was lifted high and smashed down heavily. Snap, power burst. Snap, every time the crab made a sharp cry, a huge coconut came towards it. In this way, it was smashed 5 or 6 times in a row. The multiple power bursts made Zhang Ming's muscles sore. In just a dozen seconds, sweat soaked his clothes. The scenes just now did not make him feel scared. Instead, a violent rage from the ancient times filled his chest, which was a gene implanted deep in the human blood. Zhang Ming couldn't help but recall the ancient times when people used slash and burn farming. The ancestors of mankind fought their way out of the primitive world with their powerful fighting power, unlike modern people who lie in bed drinking coke and become fat Oedipus, forgetting the title of horrible upright ape, spirit. 32/32, you just went berserk, and the surging adrenaline made you forget fear and pain. Zhang Ming, the crab lay on the ground with its 8 legs facing the sky, its belly sunken several times, and its screams disappeared. Died? Zhang Ming was surprised and happy, but he didn't dare to be careless, and poked it a few times with a spear he carried with him. I originally only wanted one of your legs. Who told you to call your companions? With a cheer, he finally defeated the first creature in the novice village. The huge crab weighing hundreds of pounds, the crab roe and crab paste must be very delicious. So much meat. Zhang Ming rubbed his sore arm happily. I wonder how many attribute points it can bring me. There is no refrigerator or cold storage. How to preserve crab meat is a big problem. Although there are many crabs in this place, it is shameful to waste. Shameful to waste. Run away. Holding the dead crab, Zhang Ming ran away. The expression on his face was simply smiling. Rich. That night, it took a whole day to deal with this big crab. The crystal clear crab meat was spread out thickly, and drops of juice as bright as stars were wrapped in the meat, and some milky white fat was actually boiled out. As the charcoal fire continued to grill, the crab meat fibers broke one by one, mixed with white delicious mist, making people salivate. No water boiling today, just charcoal grilling. Zhang Ming enjoyed the crab roe and crab meat happily, added a little instant noodle seasoning, and indulged in it. What a delicacy. Yesterday, he was so hungry that he thought anything edible was delicious. But today, he was not hungry, so he was sure that the crab meat in his hand was a real delicacy. The large chunks of crab meat saved the peeling process. After being roasted, the muscle fibers had a rough feeling, and the wild flavor lingered on the tip of the tongue for a long time. Zhang Ming's eyes lit up as he ate. The legendary dragon liver and phoenix marrow is just like this. If it were placed on Earth, it would definitely sell for a sky-high price, 1 million for this bite, and 1 million for the next bite. The crab roe and crab meat entered the stomach, bringing a burning warm current to the body and forming new attribute points. However, it did not bring any new abilities. I think there's only one kind of power burst in the crab, and the effect is almost the same no matter which part is eaten. Good evening, dear listeners. I am announcer Li Zianfeng. Today I will bring you the first-hand news. The world's earthquake disasters are still continuing, logistics are interrupted, and the global industrial chain crisis will become a definite outcome. Due to the economic collapse, geopolitical conflicts in various regions continue to expand. The Minister of Defense of the African country said that according to the president's order, the army has entered the highest level of combat readiness. The East African dam broke, and the population affected by the flood disaster reached tens of millions. Experts believe that the drought after the flood disaster will affect next year's grain output and bring about a huge famine. Zhang Ming was silent. He couldn't imagine what was happening in the outside world. In his impression, the world has been peaceful for a long time. Although there are occasional conflicts, peaceful development is still the main theme. However, in just a few short days, the world has changed. Plague, war, famine, death, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse have returned to the world and are wreaking havoc on the world with an unparalleled attitude. The power of nature is so terrifying. The voice of announcer Li Zianfeng also seemed a little hoarse, and it could be heard that he was exhausted. Next news. The Ministry of Finance of Daksha shows in the draft government budget report that in the future, A total of 50 trillion development funds will be invested for earthquake damage repair and the construction of super-large underground shelters to fully protect the property and life safety of the people. Resisting a magnitude 8 earthquake will become the standard for future buildings, and 12 super-large refuge cities will be built in the Western Plateau area. Zhang Ming ate crab roe in a daze, and felt his nostrils getting hot, and almost had a nosebleed. Super-large refuge city. In the following news, not only Daksha, but also the governments of other major countries have built super-large shelters. As the saying goes, when a man makes a nest, there is no wind. The human leaders must have learned some important information and made the same choice. Or a human war may really come. Zhang Ming rubbed his temples, feeling depressed. War, the best way to divert contradictions. Why did World War I and World War II break out? The root cause is economic problems and the intensification of contradictions within the human race. Now a world-class disaster has occurred, the global economy is paralyzed, the pie is shrinking rapidly, and there is not even enough habitable land, so it brings the possibility of a world war. Especially for countries like Fuso, which are almost unable to survive due to the volcano. What should they do without external assistance? Of course, they will fight and seize territory. If they can't beat a big country, can they beat a small country? Don't think that humans will work together to overcome difficulties. In a disaster, the only thing humans won't do is to unite as one. Although Zhang Ming is an outsider, even if humans beat the dog's brain out, it has nothing to do with him. Deep in his heart, he couldn't calm down. Hey, have you forgotten something? I'm far away overseas. Do I need to send a ship to rescue me? Zhang Ming wanted to cry but had no tears, and he sighed to the sky. Don't rush to fight, save me first. I have old and young people above me, and I don't have a wife and daughter below me. I want to return to the human world. The international news broadcast ended here, and no one paid attention to him. The next is the routine wilderness survival common sense. Listeners, today I will introduce to you the long-term storage methods of food. As we all know, a person can survive for more than a week without food. But the resulting decline in immunity and weakness in the limbs will seriously affect survival in the wild. In tropical areas, the rainy and dry seasons will affect the source of food. Therefore, storing sufficient food will effectively reduce risks and increase the chance of survival. Here are 3 methods of long-term food preservation: drying, pickling, and smoking. P.S. At the request of readers, today's 2-in-1, along 4,200 words. Chapter 24, The Greedy Turtle. Let's take crabs as an example and see how to preserve the crab meat that can't be eaten. Zhang Ming seriously suspected that the satellite in the sky was secretly watching him. Every time he reached a certain step, the radio played the content he wanted appropriately. Since the satellite can see me, why not send a rescue team? At worst, use drones to deliver some supplies. Could it be that a bold idea came to his mind? I'm trapped in the Truman Show? He frowned and thought for a while, feeling that there was no point in worrying about these things. Because the superpowers he obtained were real and reliable, and he could use the burst of power at any time. The huge coconut trees on the island and the crab meat in his hand were also real. Zhang Ming did not think that humans had such technical strength just to put on a show. The content on the radio is probably carefully summarized and sorted by the expert group after the satellite in the sky collected the data. Today is the 4th day of the global earthquake. The people who remain in the mysterious area are either hungry and can't have the leisure to listen to the radio, or they have solved the food crisis, so the expert group broadcasts the content that the survivors need on the radio. Of course, in a world where supernatural phenomena exist, everything is possible. Who knows, something may see me. Zhang Ming carefully evaluated the current complex situation and came to a terrifying conclusion. In the future, you must poop in the bushes. Even if there is a live broadcast, you won't be exposed. Otherwise, it's terrible to be treated as a hooligan when you go home, listening to the radio and picking up the crab residue. I learned a lesson this time and prepared to throw the waste to the beach. The tide will sweep away all the garbage. Suddenly, I heard a rustling sound from not far away. I turned my head and looked. A bull turtle had appeared in the bushes. Its black eyes glanced at the fire in the camp, and it seemed to notice that Zhang Ming had noticed it, so it immediately retracted its head into its shell. It's you. You want to eat crabs again, right? Zhang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be the big turtle that escaped during the day. It's good that it's not a dangerous creature. But you're as big as a car, and you pretend to be a little cute. You hide in the bushes so that others can't see you, right? You are covering your ears and stealing the bell." Then, he took a deep breath and found that there were several large and small turtles lying in the bushes. A pair of eyes, staring at the smoked crabs on the fire. The largest turtle is as big as a car, the smallest is only the size of a fist. They are very eager to eat. But these foods were hunted by Zhang Ming with great difficulty, and he still doesn't have the living conditions to raise pets. "What I give you is yours. If I don't give it to you, you can't take it." Zhang Ming found it interesting and stared at it fearlessly. A magical scene appeared. Whichever turtle he stared at, it would immediately shrink its head back into its shell in fear. It stopped looking at them and poked its head out again, looking at the pile of crabs and then at the owner of the food. So Zhang Ming simply shot left and right, one against many, and his eyes were like a machine gun shooting wildly. After a while, all these turtles with their heads shrunk into their shells. These turtles have become spirits, and they have actually developed wisdom. But they don't seem to be very smart. After shrinking their heads, they think that others can't see them, which is simply a bit outrageous. Zhang Ming did not hurt them. He walked up carefully and threw a piece of crab's gill leaf at a turtle. Sure enough, this turtle with its head shrunk could not withstand the temptation of food, poked its head out to try it, smelled it, and thought it was very fragrant. It opened its mouth and took a bite, and ate it smacking. It ate so fragrantly, it was just swallowing it whole, for fear that it would be snatched away by its companions. The other turtles smelled the aroma of crabs and were slightly moved. Crabs are naturally included in their diet. But those crabs have the ability to explode power and are very powerful. Under normal circumstances, turtles rarely eat them. Zhang Ming laughed strangely, and his mood became more and more cheerful. He recalled a sentence that someone said, "For whoever has, to him shall be given, and he shall have abundance, but whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken away from him." So he began to feed the same turtle non-stop, so that the turtle could eat more comfortably. The rest of the turtles became more and more resentful, stretched their heads out again, and looked at them with a sad face. "Why don't we have anything to eat? Why only feed it?" There was a particularly greedy one, stretching his neck very long, and when he was about to eat the crab waste, he found that a piece of meat was thrown to another one. Its long neck kept shaking, and its mouth opened and closed. After being teased several times, its eyes were simply stunned. It just stayed there stupidly, and its mouth was still open in the end. "Ah, spirit plus one, eat, eat, everyone has some. It seems that your life is not easy either." After playing with the sea turtles for a while, Zhang Ming carried a large box of crab shell waste and headed to the beach. The turtles followed him, swaying and timid, but unable to resist the temptation. Zhang Ming scattered the shells in the drawer. The food residues fell all over the beach. He rinsed the metal drawer with seawater. Turning around, he found that the sea turtles were already feasting. They have a special liking for crabs. Even the hard crab shells are eaten very vigorously, as if they contain some precious elements that can strengthen their bodies. Zhang Ming did not rashly disturb them while they were eating, but enjoyed them with relish. "How about I eat some shells too?" Simple happiness. This happy scene of foraging reminded him of his childhood, when his grandfather raised a big yellow dog named Wangpi, an ordinary pastoral dog. The yellow fur is shiny and the furry tail is like a feather duster, big and fluffy. Every time when eating, Wangpi would wag his tail and beg for food beside the table. The swinging amplitude of the tail makes the butt swing together, and the rich expression and drooping tongue keep trying to please. If it were a human, it would definitely be the best dance hall actor. However, Grandpa passed away 5 years ago, and the yellow dog died 7 years ago. The turtles finished eating the crabs, and some of them were still not satisfied. Compared with their huge bodies, these foods are just snacks at most. But they are very happy. It can be seen that this little snack is a happy time for them. Chapter 25 New Questions. After eating all the food, the turtles swam into the sea on the waves, making joyful arwoo, arwoo sounds all the way. Some of them even turned their heads and looked at the lonely old Zhang. There was only one person on the beach. The wave surged, washing away all traces. Zhang Ming was silent, looking at the moon in the sky and the fire in the distance, and didn't know what to say. Suddenly, he felt an inexplicable emotion. He was trapped at the edge of the universe. It was empty and silent here, without even a star, and the ink-like darkness surrounded him. His future was vague. He might have to spend the rest of his life with these turtles. The center of the universe, with bright stars, lively and prosperous, was the main activity area of human beings, where his relatives, friends, Colleagues and partners lived. Even the annoying leader with a face full of flesh seemed to be kind and lovely under the influence of distance. But no matter how hard Zhang Ming tried, he could only wander outside the edge of the universe. The love, hate and vengeance of mankind, like a silent black and white movie, played out before his eyes. With his own strength, it was really difficult to cross the astronomical distance, and there was no way to return to the group. He kept crawling forward and running forward, but it was all in vain. Until the end. Zhang Ming shook his head violently and temporarily got rid of this emotion. Maybe there will be a national rescue team tomorrow, but what if the rescue team didn't come? What if the mysterious area was more terrifying than imagined? This question has not been answered in his mind for a long time. After solving the problems of food, water, fire and shelter, he encountered a new problem, loneliness. What a big crab meat. Those pieces of crab meat are like beef, they must be delicious, right? It's just luck that he encountered a rich island. If he was put in the mysterious area number 7, he would have been dead. What did he write on the beach? I just used Google Translate, and it says, the best crab meat, 100,000 yuan per caddy. Impossible. Does he know that there is a mirage outside? Can he connect with human civilization? Or is it because he is too lonely? In the mysterious area number 16, the story of the lone survivor is a bit too plain. The enthusiasm of the foreign melon-eating crowd is also slowly fading. Most people want to see rivers of blood, not happy food. What they want to see is whether the survivors will implicate their motherland after their death, rather than living a miserable life and playing around near the beach every day. Over time, except for a few diligent black fans, the amount of attention has decreased significantly. After all, the other 14 mysterious areas have many contradictions and conflicts, which are more eye-catching. Of course, the attention paid to the mysterious area number 16 in Daksha remains unabated. People all over the country are like chasing TV series. If they don't chase it for a day, they will feel itchy. Although the content of the TV series is a bit monotonous, it is true and reliable, and may even affect the fate of the motherland. Teacher Pinot Wang believes that crab meat may be a little fishy. If it is soaked in white wine, it may be more delicious. The top chef Mr. Li has invented a seasoning. No matter what meat is added, it is delicious. The topic of what does deserted island crab taste like has become a hot search. People have expressed their opinions. I also want to live on the island for a few days. Come on, it's lonely to stay on a deserted island every day. You can't play with your mobile phone. You can't play with a computer. There is no internet, no social interaction. You will go crazy within 3 days. Besides, do you really think you can beat crabs? Different from the pure entertainment of netizens, scientific researchers at home and abroad still focus part of their energy on the mysterious area number 16. Because this leisurely and bored guy often writes some words on the beach with branches. Crab meat is delicious and has a special effect on muscle development. I've become stronger. The turtles here have developed wisdom and like to eat crab shells. I guess they want to supplement calcium. What coconut delicacies are there? Mirage, after all, is not a 4K high-definition screen. The words on the beach are blurry. Even if restored by AI technology, many words can only be guessed. But this phenomenon has already attracted the attention of a large number of scientific research staff. Could it be that he is aware of the existence of mirage and uses the words on the beach to communicate with a human world? Or maybe he is too lonely and just writes casually to vent. Daksha Kingdom, Special Affairs Handling Department, routine meeting. Li Xianfeng sat in the center of the round-table conference room, and more than 30 experts from all walks of life sat around the round table. Seeing everyone gathered, Li Xianfeng cleared his throat and said, "Everyone, Zhang Ming's survival status in the mysterious area number 16 is temporarily stable. So much crab meat should be safe to eat for a while after drying. He himself is not the kind of person who loves adventure. As long as there is no sudden crisis, there should be no problem. Even if there is a sudden crisis, we can't provide support here. We can only leave it to fate." All the information investigated recently was placed on the table, including Zhang Ming's personal file. From kicking someone's balls in kindergarten, how many points he got in junior high school, to passing the college entrance examination and becoming an ordinary college student, all kinds of details were included. In a nutshell, small-town test-taker. Small-town test-taker is good, which means that after rigorous logical training, he will not make inexplicable and stupid moves, and his ability to withstand pressure after the baptism of the college entrance examination will not be too poor. You know, The performance of the survivors in the mysterious area may be related to the world disaster. If Zhang Ming suddenly goes crazy and dies suddenly, causing a natural disaster in the country, although they will not have to commit seppuku to apologize, they will have serious faults both in themselves and in terms of their responsibilities. The computers of the people also stored the information of the personnel in the other 15 mysterious areas. Since most of them were overseas personnel, it was difficult to collect the information and the integrity was not high. Li Xianfeng added, except for the relatively stable number 16 mysterious area, the number 1, number 3, and number 13 mysterious areas are also relatively safe. The rest have encountered various problems. Number 1 is an ocean-going luxury cruise ship with 3,000 passengers. The food they carry can last for 1 or 2 months. If they use it sparingly, it will last for 3 months. There are as many as 300 superpowers. With more people, a balance is formed. As long as there is no monster invasion, there will be no group annihilation. Number 3 is a large oil tanker with mercenaries on board. The mercenaries bring their own guns and the food ration is also about 1 month. Although there are some internal conflicts, it is still stable under the blessing of powerful force. Number 13 is the Arctic Ocean Expedition Team, taking an icebreaker to explore the Arctic. Due to the high quality of the expedition team, there is no great risk for the time being. Li Xianfeng said calmly, the situations in mysterious areas number 6 and number 15 are more critical. We will focus on observing whether the survivors in these 2 mysterious areas will be wiped out. Their nationalities are highlighted in the information. We will keep an eye on whether disasters will break out in these countries. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.